Malakai Black has the world of professional wrestling talking, and it's not. For WWE, the former Aleister Black made his debut on Wednesday's Dynamite in Miami, attacking Arn Anderson, attacking Cody Rhodes, setting up a match at All Out in Chicago between the two, and it was awesome. How did the debut come about? Why did he show up in AEW well before the 90 days that were rumored on his contract? And how did WWE mess it all up? Also, I got news on John Cena and Brock Lesnar as we head towards SummerSlam. Is John Cena really a lock in the main event against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship? And why did Paul Heyman change his Facebook profile picture to something completely that goes against the tribal chief, Roman Reigns? Does this mean Lesnar might be Reigns' opponent at SummerSlam? And Stephanie McMahon is meeting with network executives to try and come up with a plan to save the failing ratings on Raw and SmackDown. Here's a little spoiler for you, Steph. It has nothing to do with the networks. You ain't gonna help anything. The internal problem as to why the shows suck is coming from right underneath your nose. All this plus so much more on episode 382 of Off the Script. Guys, thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is Saturday, July 10th, 2021. I am your host, JD from New York, and this is episode 382 of Off the Script. Nice to be back after the 4th of July holiday, 4th of July weekend. There was no news. There was absolutely no news that weekend, so what I decided to do, if there were, or still are, a bunch of people wondering, well, where's the podcast? Why didn't you upload? JD hates his fans. He's not consistent. It was the 4th of July holiday. There was no wrestling news, and there was no news to fill a 2-hour show. So what I did was give you 2 uploads on Saturday and Sunday. So take what you can get, guys. It's slow until WWE gets back in the swing of things with fans coming back into the arenas as we head towards Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, which should be fucking awesome. I can't wait for that to happen. I got news on that as well. What is WWE doing to get in the spirit of fans attending their shows once again as we round out the summer months here for WWE? Like I said at the top, I got news on John Cena. I got news on Brock Lesnar. I got news on Stephanie McMahon meeting with the networks, or meeting with a network, which I'm assuming is Fox, being that SmackDown is the grade A #1 show in WWE. News on Money in the Bank. How well are tickets selling? AEW All Out sells out in 30 minutes, triggering a bunch of geeks online, which is a great thing to see. Paul Heyman, not only did he change his profile picture on Facebook, don't really know who's keeping an eye out for that information, but Paul Heyman was permanently removed from Talking Smack as well, and I have a hunch as to why he was replaced on Talking Smack. And I got the very latest on the Jimmy Uso situation coming out of the DUI arrest. Has Vince McMahon done anything in regards to Jimmy Uso getting help. And will WWE be stepping in? I got the latest on that. And I want to thank you guys for joining me on episode 382 of Off the Script today. Sponsored by Sheath. You guys know Sheath. They are back on board for the month of July. You guys are going to use code SCRIPT at checkout to save 20% off any purchase that you go for on sheathunderwear.com. I'm actually wearing a pair of Sheath underwear right now, but obviously I'm not going to show you that. I don't even know who's going to be interested in seeing that, number one. Number two, I've been wearing them all week, ever since I got sponsored by them a couple of weeks ago, man. They are incredibly comfortable, especially in the summer months, man, when it's hot, it's muggy, everything's sticking to each other. You don't want that. You guys want Sheath underwear, man. sheathunderwear.com/scripts, where you guys could go to checkout and enter the promo code SCRIPT to save 20% off. We'll talk about my friends over at Sheath a little bit later, but thank you to Sheath for sponsoring the show today. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up for episode 382. Let's try for 1,000 likes on the video in the first 24 hours. That is the goal. So make sure you guys go and do that for me. It is free to do so. It is free to show that type of support. Make sure you guys go and support via Patreon, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. We got a very limited number left. I'm looking at the box right now. Very limited number left of the dugout mugs, the off the scripts engraved dugout mugs, man. You guys can get them exclusively on Patreon when you sign up for an annual membership. Also, we got the exclusive Are We Live t-shirts, only available on Patreon. So if you guys want to go and check that out, great way to support the show. So I thank all my fellow VIPs on patreon.com/JD from NY206. Make sure you guys go and get your other t-shirts, man. There is a completely just, I don't want to say unused. I don't really push it. I should. But there is an entire website for actual merchandise of Off the Script. And like I said a couple weeks ago, I believe I mentioned it, I am in talks with some web designers to actually get a landing page for the merchandise shop exclusively. And I'm working on that. I don't know when that's going to be up. I did mention I'd like to get it up before Survivor Series. If Survivor Series definitely takes place in New York, I would love that to be the centralized rollout for the new website. But if you guys want to go get your t-shirts, man, I just unveiled a new design. Not really a new design, but an old design, a retro design, just to kind of fit the vibe of the summer, man. I want you guys to go to bonfire.com. The link is down in the description of this very video. Make sure you guys go to Bonfire and get yourself the new revised Summer Scam t-shirt, now available on bonfire.com, man. Now, if you guys go to Bonfire and order it, I guarantee delivery before SummerSlam. Make sure you guys go and get it today. It will not be available past Labor Day. As soon as the summer is over, I'm pulling it. So make sure you guys go and get it. We set the goal at a very soft cap at 25. We already have 15 sold. I'd love to get to 25, possibly beyond. So make sure you guys go and do that for me. I would love if you go support and get yourself a Summer Scam t-shirt. The lamest party of the summer. It doesn't have to be that way, Bruce. It doesn't have to be. And it shouldn't be with the mock card that we came up with for SummerSlam. If you guys want to support, I'd love if you go and do that. Summer Scam at Bonfire, exclusively bonfire.com. Make sure you guys also go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, NXT had their Great American Bash. We even covered that on Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, chock full of content. Friday SmackDown podcast live stream, that is up there as well. Make sure you guys go and check that out. We blew the competition away on Wednesday night, man. Malakai Black and the debut of the former Aleister Black in WWE made waves through social media, waves in the professional wrestling world. And our podcast on Wednesday did Sting like winter is coming numbers, man. So if that is any indication for what AEW does when they unveil some new talent, I'm all for it, man. He is going to be a big deal. I think a lot of people who believe in Malakai Black, believed in Aleister Black, they're going to get what they wanted from his run in WWE under Tony Khan. I absolutely believe that. And I'm very excited for that man. I'm very excited to see what he does, how he performs, the level of his creativity. It's going to be awesome. And the podcast was great on Wednesday. Jesse and I went over everything about his arrival in All Elite Wrestling. So make sure you guys go and check that out as well. It's also a great way to support the show. And like I said, today's sponsored by Sheath, sheathunderwear.com. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 20% off. We're going to start at the top, guys. Start off light and then get into the heavy-hitting stories. WWE has finally taped its last ThunderDome show. Outside of SmackDown last night, which was obviously live from the WWE ThunderDome, Monday Night Raw this coming Monday will not be live inside the ThunderDome as it was taped on Tuesday. WWE has to be out of the ThunderDome, and come Friday, July 16th, we no longer have to look at virtual geeks inside the ThunderDome. I'll talk about that in a second. The WWE ThunderDome era is finally over. The company will commence a 25-city tour in 9 days with the July 16th episode of Friday Night SmackDown taking place at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Next week's edition of Monday Night Raw will mark the final episode inside the ThunderDome, taped at the Yuengling Center on the University of South Florida campus. According to a report from John Pollock of Post Wrestling, WWE pre-taped next week's episode of Raw on Tuesday. So the go-home SmackDown episode of Money in the Bank will run at the Toyota Center. Yes, good luck saying that. Toyota Center. Money in the Bank will take place at the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, 2 days later. I am so happy that we are finally moving on from this, man, with SmackDown taking place live in front of fans at the Toyota Center, and then Money in the Bank happening live at the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. I can't wait for live fans to be back in attendance, man. I would be happy to never see another WWE ThunderDome. I would be happy to never look at a virtual geek on an LED screen ever again. I will be happy to never hear a piped-in crowd reaction ever again. For so long, WWE has gotten away with murder inside these ThunderDomes. You don't know who's over, who's not over, who's a heel, who's a babyface. I don't even think WWE knows half the fucking shit that's going on. Their television programs on a weekly basis, man. I don't have to look at fucking idiots on a virtual screen cheering for somebody that they're told to cheer for. I don't have to hear the agendas being pushed by management because they want you to cheer and boo for somebody. It is no longer a case where the fans are outside the bubble and WWE is nice and contained, nice and comfy in their own bubble, and they can do whatever they want. The fans are gonna be the ones with the buttons to push now. I love it. I love it. I hope to never see another WWE ThunderDome ever again. Ever again. It was good while it lasted. It did its job, but when performers start acknowledging fake chants, I think that's where I draw the line. I can't wait to see live blood, live human beings on Friday's SmackDown next week, right before Money in the Bank. It should be good. It should be good. And Money in the Bank is shaping up to be a decent show as well. So for the first time in a long time, not because of what's happening on the product side of things, I'm just excited for a WWE show because we get to see real energy. And we haven't seen that in over a year and a half. The latest on John Cena's status for SummerSlam. Now, with fans coming back into the fold, John Cena has teased more than once that he will be back on WWE television. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when he comes back. He's excited to get back into the WWE. Variety reported this week that John Cena has signed on to be part of the cast of a new movie called Argylle. Now, this movie stars Henry Cavill a.k.a. Superman, Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dallas Howard, Bryan Cranston, Catherine O'Hara, and Samuel L. Jackson. So John Cena's getting work in Hollywood, man. Good for him. Now, the shooting of this film will begin in Europe this August, with the release date being sometime next year. It will be interesting to see if this product actually impacts John Cena's WWE plans. The start date for filming will be very important for this, as if it's after SummerSlam, then it won't impact John Cena's commitments to SummerSlam. However, if it's before SummerSlam, then it will depend on the COVID-19 protocols, insurance, and filming schedule. Now, insurance, as you guys are very well aware of, has prevented The Rock from wrestling while filming 6 movies at the same time. I don't know how he does it. He's like, he's not human. Dwayne Johnson is not human. But insurance has prevented Dwayne Johnson from wrestling while also filming movies in the past. Now, earlier this year, John Cena made it known that the reason he could not appear at WrestleMania 37, and he didn't, so he was not lying, he was telling the truth, was due to the COVID-19 protocols that were in place while he was filming Peacemaker for HBO Max, and that was done over the border in Canada. Now, it's been heavily reported that WWE hopes to have Cena back so he can work the main event of SummerSlam against Universal Champion Roman Reigns. The show takes place on Saturday, August 21st from Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Now, I don't know what everybody's getting so worked up over. Andrew Zarian put his name out there of the Matt Men podcast. My boy, Andrew Zarian, put his name out there. And I don't think someone like that's going to put his reputation and his name on the line for something that is merely speculation. If he said it, more likely than not, it's true. If he said it, more than likely, your main event for SummerSlam is Roman Reigns versus John Cena. I think everybody's getting worked up over this new film, Argyle, and how it's going to impact John Cena's SummerSlam plans. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that there's still no word yet as to when Cena will exactly return to WWE. However, it was said that Cena is free of responsibilities for acting work at this point, and until after SummerSlam, that will be the case. So he will be able to show up. Not on the July 16th episode, even though I remember seeing him being advertised for that. Him, Edge, John Cena, Sasha Banks, they were all advertised for that show. Now, I wouldn't do that, as I think you need to promote him ahead of time. So I would wait. That's the go-home show. You wrap up whatever you got going on with Edge and Roman Reigns, and then you save John Cena for the Friday after Money in the Bank. And then you advertise his return. So then that's going to get people to watch. You can't get ratings. You can't make money. Can't sell tickets if you're going to bank on him showing up unadvertised. If everybody knows John Cena is going to be back in the WWE, and the rumor that everybody knows about is him and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, why don't you go and advertise it to make people aware that this is a big deal? He's showing up. What is he showing up for? You don't have to tell everybody. But why is he showing up on SmackDown, and what could he possibly want after all this time? Sell the fact that he's coming back. Don't hold it and not say anything about it when we already know he's going to be at SummerSlam. However, it was said that John Cena is free of responsibility, says Meltzer. Good. Good. It's a lock. Cena and Reigns. Main event for SummerSlam. Meltzer did, in fact, note that it's not, or that it is possible he could start after or end prior to the date, or even get a few days off. So this Argyle film, according to Meltzer, is not going to impact him whatsoever as far as his plans for SummerSlam. I think people are working themselves up into hoping that he doesn't show up for some reason. But I have one thing that's going to dead everything as far as SummerSlam goes. If Roman Reigns beats Edge, which I'm sure he will, and my prediction is Seth Rollins is going to have a factor in that match, who does Roman Reigns get at SummerSlam? There's no draft. There's no opponent, unless it's Daniel Bryan again, which we know it won't be, because Roman Reigns exiled him from SmackDown. If John Cena does not wrestle Roman Reigns, who is Reigns getting at SummerSlam? I don't want to see anybody but Roman Reigns and John Cena. That's all I want. I don't want to see Lesnar. Not yet, anyway. I think Lesnar proves to be the biggest fact in maybe them taking the title off of Roman Reigns. Because then that would lead to Paul Heyman maybe, potentially, possibly, turning on Roman Reigns and joining Brock Lesnar once again, turning Roman Reigns babyface with fans now back in attendance. I don't want to see that. Roman Reigns needs to be heel. Until you get to Roman Reigns and Dwayne, The Rock, wherever WWE plans for that to happen, Roman Reigns should not turn babyface at all. So I'm very interested to see what WWE does as far as that goes. But if John Cena does not show up at SummerSlam, there is legitimately no one else for Roman Reigns to wrestle on the main roster going into SummerSlam. And no, it's not going to be an NXT guy. It's not going to be Kross. It's not going to be anybody like that coming up and being placed in that position because they got their own thing that they got to worry about. You can't feed everybody to Roman Reigns, otherwise nobody's going to get over. Roman Reigns and John Cena is the plan, folks. Stop working yourselves up over bullshit rumors. It was already announced. It was pretty much confirmed by credible, reputable sources. Go with that. I can't wait for it to happen because I think that's going to be a tremendous story back on SmackDown. John Cena also said, as he's been promoting his potential comeback to the WWE and kind of showing everybody and telling everybody how excited he is to come back, he spoke to Complex News. And Cena said that WWE is a global phenomenon with or without him. And he argued that the company is still thriving in spite of the fact that he is no longer a full-time performer, and went on to say that WWE doesn't actually need him. It's interesting. It's an interesting quote from John Cena, man. I always enjoy hearing John Cena talk and explain why on certain things because he's so educated. He's so well-spoken. He says this, and I quote, WWE is already a global phenomenon with or without John Cena. And that's proven before I got there, and certainly now that I'm not there anymore, and they're still thriving. They don't need me, but it's such an honor and a privilege to walk in that locker room and be able to go out there and perform. End quote. Now, clearly, John Cena is a company man through and through. He would never badmouth anything about WWE. That's just the type of guy and performer and employee he has been for Vince McMahon for 13, 14 years. It's not a situation where, Cena's going to go out there and tell everybody that WWE is failing without him. Why would he do that? It's all about the company. It's not about one specific individual, whether WWE does it or anybody like John Cena says it. It's never about one person. But deep down, I think if you're a smart fan and you listen to what he said, you know he's full of shit. He could easily be talking about, yeah, they don't need me to make any money because WWE's making more money now hand over fist than any time in their history. But if you look at the ratings this week alone, SmackDown, I believe, accumulated the lowest rating since their move to Fox, and Monday Night Raw had accumulated the lowest rating of all time for this past 4th of July holiday. So, as far as John Cena saying that WWE doesn't need him, I want everybody to pay attention to the ratings when John Cena is announced and he's on weekly television leading to his match with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Then I want you to pay attention to the ratings when he's not there. So when John Cena is advertised for SmackDown, I want to show you what the ratings are. They'll probably be back where they are. And when John Cena is not there and he's done with this feud and this match with Roman, then the ratings are going to go back down to where they usually are and have been for the last several months. And at that point, it's going to be very well apparent that WWE absolutely needs John Cena. WWE needs John Cena. No matter what way you look at it, WWE needs John Cena. They need his star power. They need his drawing power. They need him to fill seats in those arenas. They need him because he brings legitimacy to the show. They need him because outside of Roman Reigns, and I would not even yet put Roman Reigns in that category to speak of, WWE has not built up anybody since Roman Reigns has come into this heel role of his. And if you want to go before that, WWE has not replaced John Cena. Roman Reigns is the closest one to that. And like I said, I don't even put him in that discussion yet because Roman Reigns hasn't achieved full power yet. WWE has not built anybody. They don't have a superstar on the level of John Cena. That is their own doing. That is their fault. If you go look at WWE back in the Attitude Era and after years of the Attitude Era, WWE had pretty much set themselves up for wealth. They had 5, 6, 7 different guys that can main event at any given time. And WWE doesn't have that at all in the company. Now you got 2 brands. Outside of Roman Reigns, who do you have to main event on SmackDown? Daniel Bryan's not there. Edge is a legend. He's not going to be in the main event all the time. That's not going to be good use of Edge in WWE on this comeback tour. Roman Reigns is the only one on SmackDown that is a legit main event guy. And WWE's been so lucky that he's thrived in this role because he's made everybody look like a main event guy. Now, I could go off and complain about how WWE has taken guys like Kevin Owens and Cesaro and all these other guys they want to put in the ring with Roman Reigns and how they look like a main event superstar next to Roman Reigns and how they haven't followed up on that. That's their own problem. So WWE doesn't even give a shit. They don't have anybody to replace John Cena since he's went away and become a real part-timer. Everybody that's been in the ring with Roman Reigns, they haven't followed up on. They use them, they abuse them, and then they throw them back in the fucking mid-card where they think they belong. Look at Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre. You did great with him, having him win the Rumble, having him beat Lesnar. What has WWE done since then? McIntyre had a decent run. Not his fault, working out of the PC with no fucking fans. But WWE took him and made him into an unwatchable babyface like we see now with fans returning. WWE has Bobby Lashley leading the show on Monday Night Raw. I don't think that's the type of guy you really want leading the charge on Monday Night Raw. In fact, that may be some of the reason why the ratings are fucking where they are. They don't have any main event guys on Monday Night Raw. There could be, but WWE refuses to embrace that. John Cena is absolutely needed. John Cena is bigger than WWE, to be quite honest with you. He really is. So John Cena, as always, being a humble individual, saying that WWE doesn't need him, I want you guys to pay attention to when Cena is there, how much he's missed, and how much WWE actually does need John Cena. It's going to be very, very clear to you when you watch him on TV in a couple of weeks. Speaking about SummerSlam, the other guy that is rumored for SummerSlam, 1 week he's rumored, 1 week he's going to be there, the other week he's not going to be there, back and forth we go with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is unlikely to appear at SummerSlam now, according to reports. Plans to get Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam have fallen through, but talks are ongoing for Lesnar's return at some point. Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast says plans to bring in Lesnar did not work out on the creative side of things, but he's expected back at some point this year. Dave Meltzer previously reported that the rumored Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley match is not happening at SummerSlam. Lashley's been lobbying for that match for years, but it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. Well, maybe not one-on-one, but maybe Drew McIntyre wins Money in the Bank and WWE has him cash in on Bobby Lashley and Lesnar comes back and they make it a triple threat match. That's always an idea that WWE could go and do. Zarian said the following on his podcast, and I quote, "They want Brock. For whatever reason, the plans didn't work out. I believe it was creative-wise. It just wasn't fitting. Financially, they want Brock to commit to live shows. They are working it out. It's going to happen. It's not that it's not going to happen. It's going to happen unless something goes tremendously terrible, which I don't think it will. I think we're going to see Brock. I just don't think he's needed for SummerSlam if they have this planned out already. If Brock calls them and says, hey, I want to do it, then yeah, they're going to figure it out. I don't believe Brock's going to be on there. I don't know about Brock right now. I know he's in the plans. They're going to do something with him. I just don't know what it is yet." End quote. Now, I will get to Paul Heyman in a second. Paul Heyman recently updated his profile photo on Facebook, and the photo appears to tease a big return and a reunion with Brock Lesnar. And I'll talk about that in a second and why I think he did that, because Heyman is always a master manipulator. He knows how to get people talking. Andrew said that Lesnar is probably not needed at SummerSlam, and I would go out there and probably say, yeah. I don't think Lesnar is needed for SummerSlam. I don't know where SummerSlam tickets are sitting right now. As far as I last remember seeing, SummerSlam was on its way to being a full sellout in Allegiant Stadium. I don't know with that stage, how much of that stage is going to take up that stadium. And WWE may be able to fit close to 50,000 in that stadium, if I'm not mistaken. That's a big deal. For SummerSlam, that's a big deal. So good on them for that. So if they already have SummerSlam sold out, then Lesnar isn't really needed. And if Lesnar was coming back and the only guy people want to see him wrestle is Bobby Lashley, you could get that match, like I said, with Drew McIntyre in the fold, but that presents a completely different problem. I'm not sure if WWE wants to do Lesnar, Lashley, and McIntyre and have McIntyre win the WWE Championship again in front of fans by pinning Lashley. Lesnar would be there merely for star power. He isn't going to win the championship by any means, or at least I hope not. I don't know why WWE would go right back into that same situation with Lesnar coming back and then being taken off TV till Survivor Series with the WWE title when Monday Night Raw can ill afford to have its champion off of television. I don't think that would be a great way to build the show. WWE doesn't need Lesnar. But if they are going to use Lesnar, that's probably the best way to go about it. Does he show up on Monday Night Raw? If he does, that's the only match that makes sense. There's nobody on Monday Night Raw, maybe Keith Lee, but he hasn't been on television that I'd like to see in the ring with Brock Lesnar. So being that Keith Lee's been off television since February, I don't see that being a possibility. So Lesnar showing up on Monday Night Raw is an idea, but the only thing for him right now on that show is Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. That's it. So if WWE wants to go and bring him back, that's the only thing that makes sense. If they have him put on SmackDown, I don't see what he does outside of Roman Reigns, and that match is not ready to happen yet. Because fans are getting back in attendance now, and this is going to be the first time that Roman Reigns is a heel in front of fans outside of WrestleMania. So this is going to be a big deal. This is really the beginning of Roman Reigns' heel turn, if you really want to look at it. Lesnar coming in and stopping that momentum is not really the right idea. Edge is Seth Rollins' opponent at SummerSlam. Big E is not really legitimate against Brock Lesnar right now on SmackDown. I'll talk about Big E in a second. Kofi Kingston maybe on Monday Night Raw. I forgot about him now that I'm mentioning Big E. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see Kofi Kingston in a match against Brock Lesnar. Give me a break. Seriously. So what does Lesnar do? What does Lesnar do if he's on SmackDown? He's got less to do on SmackDown than he does on Monday Night Raw. At least he has a possibility of Kofi and a possibility of Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. So if WWE is not factoring in Brock Lesnar for SummerSlam, I don't think it's going to be a big loss. Because neither one of those ideas really seem like a big thing that's going to get interest from people. Now, Lesnar, where does he show up and when does he show up? I don't know. I don't know what WWE has planned moving into the rest of the year. I don't know what they have planned after the draft. I really don't. They'll probably be back in the same boat with Lesnar. Who do we put him against? Maybe WWE just wants Lesnar back because they know they need his star power, but they don't know how many dates they're going to sign him to appear on television for. WWE, as far as I know, they only have these 25 dates, and then they got maybe some dates in September following SummerSlam. It's not like they have the rest of the year planned out as far as dates and what venues and what shows are going to be available. So they probably don't even know how many dates they're going to want to sign Lesnar for and how much money they're going to sign Lesnar for. So until they get that squared away, Lesnar may be sitting on the sidelines. Who knows how many dates he wants to work? Maybe he knows Monday Night Raw is so fucking terrible that he doesn't want to come back to Monday Night Raw. Maybe he wants to go to SmackDown only. Maybe it's a network thing. Maybe Fox wants Lesnar and USA Network is arguing, well, he's a Raw guy and, you already got Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman over there. Why don't we give the audience on Monday night Paul Heyman and have him paired with Brock Lesnar over there? Get Heyman on 2 nights. Could be a network thing. We don't know. But I find it very difficult to believe that Brock Lesnar is having creative problems and there's a creative indifference with him fitting in. I would assume Lesnar is easy to work with. I don't think Lesnar cares about coming in and winning championships. I don't. Lesnar just wants to be paid. So if I'm a betting man, it's probably a mix of the networks And it's a mix of, well, we don't know how much to pay him because we don't know how many cities we have yet on the schedule. So if he doesn't fit into SummerSlam plans, listen, it's not going to be the end of the fucking world. WWE could easily have a solid plan B for SummerSlam. You got Big E in Money in the Bank. Nobody wants to see Drew McIntyre win fucking Money in the Bank. Nobody wants to see him cash in and win the WWE champ. Why? So we get history lessons from the WWE champion? The Loch Ness Monster and fucking swords and Davy Crockett. Some fucking Scottish war he's talking about. Who gives a shit about what this guy's talking about, man? Spare me. Now, with Big E and Money in the Bank and Drew McIntyre and Money in the Bank, I've said this for weeks now. I find it very difficult to believe that a live audience is going to want to see Drew McIntyre win the Money in the Bank over Big E. I just don't see that happening. So if WWE is smart, the Money in the Bank winner for 2021 would be Big E. And with Bobby Lashley decimating the New Day and making quick work of Kofi Kingston, this would bring Big E out. He won Money in the Bank. He'll come to save his fallen brothers. Big E can cash in on any champion he wants. Clearly, he ain't cashing in on Roman Reigns. So Big E would be prompted to cash in on Bobby Lashley. You hurt my boy, Xavier. You hurt my boy, Kofi. I'm going to finish all of this for them, and we're going to be a trio once again on Monday Night Raw. I'm going to end Bobby Lashley. It's simple. It's an easy way for WWE not to sabotage Money in the Bank. Because Drew McIntyre, I just don't see it. You're going to force the fans' hand, and the fans are going to tell you, we don't want this guy. And that may turn him heel when WWE doesn't want him to be a heel. So be the safe way, or go the safe way, rather, and give Big E the Money in the Bank and have him cash in on Bobby Lashley. There's your WWE Championship match. That would be a solid main event to co-headline with Roman Reigns and John Cena. Roman Reigns and John Cena is such a massive main event that it's all right if you give us a B+ main event on Monday Night Raw. It doesn't have to be as big as Roman Reigns and John Cena, as long as it makes sense. As long as there's a good story there. That's all that I care about. What does Drew McIntyre do? They got him feuding with fucking Jinder Mahal. Put him on the undercard. Who cares? Roman Reigns and John Cena is going to be so epic and so great that I think everything else under it, if WWE plays their cards right and plans out a great card, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal will not even be a fucking thing at the end of the night. Who gives a shit? But Lesnar doesn't need to be there. You just got to use your creative wit. You got to be creative, Bruce. I know it's a fucking struggle for you to do so, but there are ways around Brock Lesnar not being at SummerSlam. Latest on Money in the Bank ticket sales. I mentioned SummerSlam. I think they're close to being sold out. And latest on Money in the Bank ticket sales, WWE has Money in the Bank coming up relatively soon. Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer that the show is almost sold out with almost 10,000 tickets sold. And that's great. Loud crowd in Texas. Very much looking forward to it. The updated card for the show is as follows. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the Monday Night Raw Women's Championship. More than likely, Charlotte will be walking out the champion because if this doesn't end, I may pull the plug on myself. Roman Reigns versus Edge for the Universal Championship. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So far, the competitors are as follows. Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Nikki Ash, Nikki Ashtray, Nikki Ass. The gimmick sucks. Liv Morgan, I think. She'll be in there regardless. They're teasing that she may be in there. I don't think they formally announced that she's in there yet, but she'll be in there. Why? Because WWE has nobody else. Their women's divisions are terrible. Sell out Zelina Vega, or sell out Vega, and Carmella. That's it. Sasha Banks, rumored to be in there as well. And if that's the case, there you go. There's your winner. But I fear that WWE will book some fucking childish garbage and have Alexa Bliss manipulate the fucking briefcase to fall from the goddamn chain that's hanging above the ring so that it falls into her hands so she doesn't have to climb the ladder. Is that a little too far-fetched for me to be thinking about? Is that a possibility? I hope to God not. Where does Naomi sit in this? Is WWE going to punish her because of what happened to her husband? Zelina Vega ain't winning the Money in the Bank. No way. Not with Aleister Black showing up on AEW. Get ready to be buried. Like Lana. Carmella's not a money. She won it twice. Why does she need to win it once, actually? The other one went to, what's-his-face? That fucking geek. I forgot his name. Shows how irrelevant he was. Nikki Cross. There's always a possibility that WWE could, James Ellsworth is his fucking name. There you go. Nikki Cross. WWE could always throw it in our face. Oh, they hate the gimmick? They think it sucks? Let's give her Money in the Bank. I hope to God that doesn't happen. Asuka, she's been in the title picture so many times this year. I don't think Asuka winning the Money in the Bank does anything. Maybe Becky Lynch is a rumored fucking mystery opponent. I don't know. For everybody else, I have no idea. The men's competitors look a little bit better. Ricochet, Matt Riddle, John Morrison, Drew McIntyre, Big E, and Kevin Owens. Who else is going to be added? I have no idea. But I'm going with Big E to win Money in the Bank. That is the one decision that makes the most sense. And then Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Not that bad of a card. So we'll see what happens come July 18th from Fort Worth, Texas. Speaking of sold-out shows, All Out is sold out. Now, those tickets are gone. AEW sold out All Out in minutes. First of all, on Thursday, they completely sold out of the pre-sale. And then on Friday, when they went on sale, legitimately, to everybody else, they were sold out in mere minutes. Fantastic news for Tony Khan and AEW. Not so much for fans who wanted to attend their show. Now, many of the tickets sold were combo packages that included Dynamite on September 1st and Rampage on September 3rd. But there are still available tickets for those shows if you guys want to go and get those tickets at AEWTix.com. So you might not be able to go to All Out, but you'll be able to attend Dynamite and Rampage. So there you go. Fans that are interested in getting All Out tickets will have to now go through the secondary market to get them. This is great news, man. But if I can make a recommendation to boss man Tony Khan, I think running the Now Center, which was formerly the Sears Center, that fits, 10,000, 11,000 fans inside that venue, maybe a little bit more than that. Why don't we start running a bigger venue in Chicago? This is your hometown, legitimately. Why don't you run a bigger venue? You would have sold another 5,000 tickets easy if these tickets were sold out as quick as they were. AEW needs to start thinking about next year's All Out. If they're ever going to run another show in Chicago, it may be before All Out. Who the fuck knows next year? They need to run a bigger venue, man. They're really losing out on money. Sometimes I think AEW takes the safest route with this, but I don't think they really understand the drawing power of what they've been able to accomplish with their pay-per-views. There's only 4 of them all year. And the way you've done a great job with them from the very beginning, they've been must-see shows. Outside maybe 1 or 2 that were great going in and then fucking shit the bed. But I think WWE can learn a thing or two about how to build a pay-per-view correctly. AEW has done that tremendously over the last year and a half. They've built such a great pay-per-view model that people are wanting to go to these shows no matter what. There's not a fucking match announced yet. You got a possibility of matches maybe taking place, but there's no fucking main event for this show. And it's sold out. Then you got fucking absolute geeks online, these irrelevant community geeks, these content creators who literally go to sleep thinking of Tony Khan while he's sitting on millions upon billions of dollars laughing at you all because he doesn't give a fucking shit what you think. And these content creators, they go out there, they go to bed hating AEW. They wake up and the first thing that they talk about is AEW. Talk about brainwashed, man. Talk about being a low-key fan. AEW's in financial trouble. Man, oh man, I'd love to see all of these geeks come up with fucking degrees in business finance. I love their doctorates in law. Seriously. Everybody out here pretending to be a fucking financial advisor for fucking decades. You fucking serious? Why don't you let Tony Khan do his own? Oh, but AEW's in the red because of a video game. Because of a video game. They've only been in business for a year and a half. Do you expect them to be in the green? And why are you putting down the video game? If I was Tony Khan, I'd put a lot of resources into making the video game as great as it could be as well. Do you know why he is in the red because of the video game? Because Tony Khan and the people that he is working with, the people that have had a hands-on approach to this product, they realize that the wrestling market is bone dry for a game. You got all these other indie developers trying desperately to make a good game, and we've seen nothing from anybody. It's either a retro 2D game or it's got unbelievable realistic graphics like this virtual basement game that's got a number of indie talent on it. How well is that going to sell? Have we seen gameplay of it? I don't give a fuck what it looks like. It could look like I'm watching a legit fucking live program in 4D on Fox. I want to see gameplay. But AEW has gotten the old Nintendo 64 people, Ukes Interactive, to make a game for next-gen consoles that replicates the success of No Mercy. You don't think, and the WCW NWO games, you don't think that people are going to get a glimpse of that and then want to go out and buy that for their next-generation systems? That game is still played now. That game is emulated and played now with mods with updated rosters. What do you think that's going to be with AEW's game? I mean, people are fucking mental. WWE 2K has been a complete fucking embarrassing failure in the gaming scene. I don't give a shit what they do. They lost the trust in a lot of people coming up with their new release. You don't think AEW wants to capitalize on that? You don't think that this game is going to sell 300, 400,000 fucking copies of it? Especially with the roster they have now and the gameplay that we were teased with? No, but they're in the red. That's all you want to care about. Game's not even in fucking alpha phase, and you're already talking about Tony Khan's business fucking financials and the way he's investing his money. Oh, man, oh, man. You should really take a step back and stop worrying about how Tony Khan is investing his money and worry about how you're going to pay for your fucking Metro card just to get to your fucking bullshit Burger King job. Fucking geeks, man. You gotta love it. I love how AEW does nothing like sell out, all out, and it triggers people. Oh, it's on the secondary market. You gotta go through the secondary market. Sellout's a sellout, in my honest opinion. What do you think, there's gonna be droids sitting in the fucking audience? No, that place is gonna be sold out. You wanna know why? Because I'm gonna be there. And I'll tell you exactly if it's sold out or not. How to get that off my chest, man? People in the community are cancerous. Extreme Rules. I don't know why this pay-per-view's coming back, man. I really don't. WWE announced Extreme Rules date and location. Sunday. So there goes the Saturday pay-per-views. Back to a Sunday in September. September 26th to be exact, from the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. This pay-per-view event was originally slated to take place on Sunday, July 18th from Tampa, Florida at the Yuengling Center inside the ThunderDome, but WWE opted to move Hell in a Cell to the summer. So one has to wonder what they're doing for October, because they've already killed Hell in a Cell, and October was usually the home of Hell in a Cell. We all thought that they moved Hell in a Cell to July to, I guess, center it around the Roman Reigns Usos drama, but that was not the case at all. So I wonder if WWE is going to do Saudi in October. Or maybe they got a new pay-per-view concept coming in October. That is not known as of this time. But WWE is doing Extreme Rules on September 26th. You know, the old pay-per-view in September was Night of Champions or Clash of Champions or whatever the fuck WWE call. I like Clash of the Champions better. That's just me. I'm an old school guy. Maybe they push that back to October. I have no idea. I don't really know. But I don't think Extreme Rules needs to be a pay-per-view on the WWE calendar. When has Extreme Rules ever been an Extreme Rules show? I think the extent of WWE being extreme is, let's pull out a kendo stick from underneath the ring. That'll show them. If WWE's not going to make it extreme, then why even bother? It's a lame name, it's an even lamer concept, and these gimmick shows need to go away. They should be centered around name only. Make it cool, make it fresh, make it exciting. Make it seem like you actually give a shit. Extreme Rules? How many people are going to be interested in Extreme Rules based off that name? I'm not. I wish they'd do something to fix the pay-per-view calendar, man. I've given many an idea to fix the pay-per-view calendar, but WWE seemingly just doesn't care. Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was pulled from Talking Smack. He may have been the only reason why anybody watched Talking Smack, to be quite honest with you, because while Roman Reigns is in the middle of this run he's on, Paul Heyman usually sat down with whomever it was. Could have been Big E, could have been Apollo Crews, could have been Kevin Owens, Cesaro, anybody that really had anything to do with Roman Reigns or potentially having something to do with Roman Reigns. He sat them down and looked them square in the face and cut incredible promos that more times than not went viral because of how great they were. Now they're pulling him from the show, and I may have a reason as to why they're pulling him from the show. Fans will not be seeing Paul Heyman on Talking Smack anymore alongside Caleb Braxton. Last week's episode saw Pat McAfee work the show with Braxton. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Heyman is now off Talking Smack, and he was told the change is permanent and not a one-week thing. It was added that there's no real reason for it past a company decision. That's what Meltzer was told. Now, with anything in WWE, plans can obviously change. They could always bring Heyman back if Pat McAfee's not working out. Heyman has made some memorable moments with his interactions with the wrestlers on the show, like I just mentioned. The series originally aired from August 2016 until July 2017, with Renee Young and Daniel Bryan being the hosts. It was then pulled because Vince McMahon found out what exactly was going on, and it broke that fourth wall, and he didn't want any of that stuff being showcased on WWE television. So then he brought it back. I'm assuming that they brought it back with hopes that Renee Young would stay with the WWE because I think her contract was about to come up, so they tried to maybe lure her to stay because she was such an integral part of the show. Then they got Paul Heyman on there, and, you know, it wasn't the same, but it was kind of the same at the same time because Paul Heyman does such an incredible job at breaking that fourth wall without actually breaking it completely down. He's so real, and he's so honest about everything that legitimately everything that he says can come out as being a shoot. But it was actually a work shoot. He worked it into everything that you saw on SmackDown, and what he was saying about whoever he was talking about was legitimately true. So taking that away from the show, I don't know how many more people are now going to watch the show with Pat McAfee compared to Paul Heyman. It may end up being worse. So taking Heyman away, in my eyes, seems to be a loss for Talking Smack. Now, Pat McAfee's done a great job on SmackDown as a play-by-play, or a color commentator, rather, next to play-by-play Michael Cole. He's done a great job. In fact, he's been some of the best parts of WWE Weekly Television with his antics, with his genuine feel on commentary, with him standing up and actually being invested in what's going on. I like that. I like that a lot. And I didn't think I was going to like it. But he now is the best part of SmackDown every single week. So if he's going to continue to be genuine like that, and they're not going to overly script him, and they're not going to program him like these android fucking commentators that they got on WWE television, like you usually see, I think the better the show will be, and the better Pat McAfee will be. But how much is too much McAfee? I don't know. I don't want to see too much McAfee. He's relatively new. You don't want him to wear thin. You don't want him to wear old and get old. Paul Heyman is a legend. So seeing Paul Heyman, especially with him being a part of Roman Reigns, the more Paul Heyman, the better, because you only see him with Roman Reigns. Pat McAfee, we hear every segment, every match, every week. How much is too much McAfee? That's the one thing I got to worry about with that. Now, why did they pull Paul Heyman? Well, Heyman changed his Facebook profile picture on Thursday to a photo from WrestleMania 31. And that was a match between Lesnar and Roman Reigns, which was a fantastic main event, by the way. Probably their best match ever. The photo shows Heyman smiling outside the ring with Reigns down on the mat. Seth Rollins would end up cashing in Money in the Bank that night, pinning Reigns to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now, with Heyman changing his profile picture, I think it's just Heyman doing what Heyman does best. He knows how to get people talking. He knows how to keep people on him and what he's doing. So that's just businessman Paul Heyman going into business for himself. I don't really take that to be much more of anything than a profile picture change because Heyman is the way he is. But why do they pull him from talking smack? How does that correlate into him changing his profile picture? I do think that him being pulled from talking smack has everything to do with Brock Lesnar, especially Brock Lesnar, coming back to WWE television. Because at that point, remember when I just said it, how much is too much McAfee? How much is too much Heyman? If Heyman is going to be on SmackDown with Roman Reigns, and Heyman is going to be on Talking Smack, where is Paul Heyman going to initially end up with Brock Lesnar? Probably on Monday Night Raw. So, how much is too much Heyman? You got Heyman on Monday, you got Heyman on Friday, you got Heyman on Saturday on Talking Smack. How long before you get tired of Paul Heyman? WWE probably pulled him because they know that they have working ideas and working plans to bring Lesnar back, and the plan is for Heyman to be a part of the Lesnar act. They don't want to overexpose Paul Heyman. It's a simple concept. But I will miss him. I didn't watch Talking Smack religiously, but every time there was something that Heyman did or said specifically to somebody that went fucking viral on Twitter, I watched. He's a master of his craft. Now, I don't know if Pat McAfee's going to do that and bring out the best in people. We'll see. So that's why I think they pulled Paul Heyman from Talking Smack. Speaking of pulling, they may end up pulling Jimmy Uso completely. The current internal situation coming out of the Jimmy Uso DUI arrest on SmackDown. Now, if you guys are not aware, which I think at this point everybody is very well aware of what's going on, Jimmy Uso was arrested on a DUI charge on Monday night. Now, this occurred at 10:30 p.m. during Monday Night Raw. So I'm assuming Jimmy Uso was in the same state that we usually are on Monday night, disgusted. And he said, you know what? Fuck this show. I'm going to drink myself into oblivion because this show sucks. I kid. This is a very serious situation. This is a very new situation. And he was released from jail this week. So right before SmackDown, they released him from jail. So he's out. He had a $500 bond, I believe. That was met. He's out. He's a free man. Some reports have already come out detailing WWE's reaction so far. It's still too early at this point, but the initial reaction was they were disgusted, they were disappointed, and they were pissed off, downright angry. And I don't blame them. You got Uso plans going into SummerSlam, potentially to win the SmackDown Tag Team titles. You got Uso a part of the biggest star in the wrestling world right now, Roman Reigns. I mean, you're actively ruining everything around you, not just your own life and your own career. Everybody else that has anything invested in you, you're harming them as well. Now, Ringside News asked around, and the internal reaction to Jimmy Uso's arrest is a very interesting one. Who has time to deal with him and that now? That was the internal reaction to Jimmy Uso's DUI arrest. Now, Ringside News states, in an exclusive, a tenured member of the team told us at Ringside News, and I quote, "It happened during the third hour of Raw on Monday, and they're taping Raw on Tuesday. That means that they were up all night writing the show on Monday, going into Tuesday, and they don't have time to worry about that now until the taping of Raw is finished." Ringside News asked about WWE's current plan to handle Jimmy Uso's arrest, and they were told, how could anyone have the time to deal with something they don't need to deal with before they address this on Friday's SmackDown? I mean, that is a very insensitive way to come off and speak about a serious issue. WWE doesn't plan on addressing SmackDown until Friday. Today, it's 3:30 that I'm recording this right now on a Friday. I'm pretty sure WWE doesn't have any plans for SmackDown as of right now. WWE doesn't plan on addressing SmackDown until when they usually address SmackDown. They are focusing on getting Raw ready and filmed for the ThunderDome next week. Now, the police report from Uso's arrest noted a few additional details concerning his arrest. Officer William Roper was the man who pulled Jimmy Uso over after clocking him doing 50 in a 35-mile-per-hour zone when he ran a red light. Roper was sitting in a marked police cruiser at the time. After Uso was pulled over, the officer smelled alcohol, and then he asked him to step out of the car after he was identified. It was said that Uso had trouble walking to the back of his car, and he was swaying. This is when he was asked about consuming alcohol that night, where he admitted to having, quote-unquote, multiple beers. A field sobriety test was then issued, which Uso failed. It was said that Uso agreed to the field sobriety test, but he was unable to keep his head still. He also showed multiple signs of involuntary eye movement, a common sign, of being intoxicated. Jimmy Uso had difficulty maintaining his balance, and he could not perform the walk and turn test. He was also unable to keep his balance during the stand-on-one-leg test, as he was forced to place his foot down on the pavement several times to keep from falling over. Uso blew a .205 and a .203 when he was given a breathalyzer test that is more than double the Florida state limit. This is when he was placed under arrest for DUI. Now, Vince McMahon is yet to make any decision on Jimmy Uso. This is also from Ringside News in an exclusive. As of 3 p.m., SmackDown. Nobody knows about anything going on with SmackDown. Nobody's met with Vince McMahon about SmackDown. So, as far as we know, if nobody met about SmackDown with Vince McMahon, then nobody knows what they're doing with Jimmy Uso. So that being said, says Ringside News, any report going around about Jimmy Uso's future on the main roster is right now fabricated. Multiple sources from writing staff and talent relations have confirmed that no decision has been made regarding Mr. Uso within WWE yet. We were told here at Ringside News that there has been no discussion about what they will do with Jimmy Uso at this point. Additionally, we received a refresher on the chain of command backstage in WWE as a tenured member told us, and I quote, "If there's any decision, it's been between Vince and talent relations, John Laurinaitis." That's it. Head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon, that is it. Once they decide, Bruce Pritchard will be brought into the loop, then Ed Koskey, and then Ryan Callahan, and then the creative team. End quote. So it sounds like, to me, sounds like Uso ain't going anywhere. Sounds like they may reprimand him. Sounds like there's a potential that this could be brought to television. Sounds like this could be made into a storyline. If it is, I don't know about rewarding them with tag team championships. It won't be the first time WWE has done that. But all that does is promote this type of behavior again in the future. You know, once is a mistake, and even that is a stretch. Nobody should be getting into a fucking vehicle intoxicated, okay? But normally, once is a mistake. You do it a second time, I don't think people are going to really look at you and be that forgiving of what you did. This is 4 fucking times this guy's been in a vehicle intoxicated. Now, I said this on my extra that I did on Tuesday, right before NXT. If you guys want to go check that out, I talk about it exclusively right at the top. Talk about the initial DUI arrest and the reaction to everything that's going on. We don't know what WWE is going to do. From what I just read here from Ringside News, Vince is going to be brought in. John Laurinaitis is going to be brought in. They're going to talk about what they should do because they're not firing him. They're not firing Uso. So the talk between Laurinaitis, who's head of talent relations, people power, and Vince McMahon, it will more than likely have to do with what they do with him moving forward. And the probable what they're going to do with him is not fire him. They need to get him help. They need to use his employment there. You want to be back on television? Do you want to lose your job? Go get rehab. Vince needs to step in. John Laurinaitis needs to step in. And everybody needs to step in and tell this guy what to do. Now, I don't know if he's willingly going to go to rehab. He may say no to rehab. WWE has to force rehab on him. And they need to go about it in a, you want to be back on TV, lose your job type of way, you go to rehab. You got to dangle that in front of him. You got to physically get him help. What he does after rehab, I don't know. At that point, then maybe you take it to the next step and just keep him off of television indefinitely. Never to bring him back. Good for Jay finding some success solo. And Jay's been good. Jay's not innocent in this either. He's had his demons before in the past as well. But Jay's been on the straight and narrow as of late. He knows what is going on TV and how important this is to not only him, but everybody in his family. Everybody in this storyline. Roman, Paul, The Rock. WWE's not firing any of the Anoa'i family. Especially not with Dwayne dangling that carrot. Hey, you guys need me. I may be free in November. How about a Rock match at Madison Square Garden or Barclays for Survivor Series or WrestleMania next year? You know? Who knows? WWE will not do anything to tarnish that possible relationship between them and Dwayne Johnson. They're not going to fire the Usos or Jimmy Uso in this case. It's not going to happen. But they need to get him help. But it sounds like if Vince and John Laurinaitis are going to be the first people to brief Jimmy Uso in this situation, then Bruce is going to be brought in, then Ed Koskey and Ryan Callahan, who are top creative writers on these shows. Sounds like they may be talking to him about getting help, and then they may be talking about how they may or may not be incorporating this into story on television. All I know is this guy needs fucking help. And I threw it out there. We don't know who he was with. We don't know the situation that he was going through that night on Monday night. We don't know what type of family life this guy has. I've seen a lot of people making some really just outlandish speculation and rumors that Naomi is the cause of his drinking problems and that she's a bad influence on him and all this other nonsense that, I mean, eggs on social media, eggs on Twitter, fucking droids on Twitter with 16 fucking numbers in their handle are making. You can't go out there and make accusations like that, but it is something that could possibly be raised as far as a line of questioning. What is this guy's home life like? How many times has he done this and gotten away with it? This is not the only time he's has driven drunk, and every time he's driven drunk, gotten caught. How many times? Seriously, you got to ask yourself the question, how many times has he done it and gotten away with it? How lucky is he possibly to get away with the other times he might have done it and not killed anybody or hurt anybody, ruined another family's fucking life for his own fucking failures? This shit is not anything to play with, man. Who knows what's going on in his home life? Who knows what type of relationship he has with his wife outside of WWE? What you see on Total Divas or whatever fucking E-show, what you see backstage in, you know, clips online or Instagram or social media. Everything that you see online from somebody normally is fake happiness. They throw the fake happiness out there just to make everybody seem like everything's okay on the outside, but on the inside, nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and they may be going through their own internal problems. I got people that I know personally that put fucking facades on social media, and that's not exactly how they feel. They have to show everybody that their life is great and life is happy and they're happy and yada, yada, yada. That's the way social media is. Smile for the camera. Smile for your millions of followers. But who knows what this guy's life is like at home? They may hate each other for all we know, and that may be the cause of his drinking. Nobody knows. My other question was, who was he with on Monday night that allowed him to get in a fucking vehicle? Who is the irresponsible one? Now, again, we don't know. We don't know if he was with anybody by himself. We don't know. We don't know. The police report did not say. But who's to say he was with anybody? What if he was? Who was with him on Monday night, if any, and allowed him to get into a vehicle? The keys should have been taken from him immediately. Maybe somebody knew he was getting in a car drunk. He refused to do anything, went about his own business after pleas of don't get in the car, don't get behind the wheel drunk. Maybe somebody that was there called the cops. Hey, I got this guy driving down so-and-so street. He's heading towards so-and-so. I need somebody to go pick him up. I need him to get stopped immediately. Do you got anybody out there right now on duty that may be able to stop this guy in the vicinity? Who's to say that that wasn't a situation that happened on Monday night because he refused to give up the keys and wanted to do and be cool and get behind the wheel? This guy looks like he's got everything made, man. Possible tag team championship. He's in a storyline with Roman and his brother. They're about to be on top of the tag team world again. They're in the biggest storyline in pro wrestling right now with Dwayne coming in. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a WWE contract that's worth millions. A family legacy that is unrivaled in this industry. You would think he has everything, but he doesn't. Not by the way he's been acting. Vince needs to get involved. Vince does not want this to get... This is 4 times now. This is 4 times Vince, Bruce, and everybody else. The company has gotten away with murder. That's it. When the murder actually happens because of this guy, what are you going to do then? WWE doesn't want that PR nightmare. They don't. They need to step in before this shit is fucking at a point where it is something the company will never be able to come back from. His brother, him, will never be able to come back from. His family will not be able to save him here. We don't need him to get behind a wheel for a 5th time. It's probably more than 5, like I mentioned before. How many times has he gotten away with it? We don't need this guy to get behind the wheel again, and then somebody's dad, mother, child, some random fucking person walking home from work gets struck by this guy because he's not fucking paying attention because he's blowing over a fucking 2, double the amount of the Florida state limit because he's drunk. Vince doesn't want that. A decision needs to be made. I would be shocked if he's on TV Friday night. Knowing WWE and their past, I would not be surprised to see him on TV. But he should not be on TV, and he should be taken away from this storyline indefinitely. Seriously. Vince needs to step in and do the right thing. Get him help. Force him help. Stephanie McMahon. This was a comedy act. A comedy story, man. Stephanie McMahon is set to meet with a TV network in regards to pitching ideas to boost WWE ratings. Now, the TV network was not named. I'm assuming it's Fox because the Fox ratings are well below what they're paying for. USA Network, I think you and I both know, they don't give a fuck about the ratings on Monday night. They haven't given a shit about the ratings on Monday night, and that has been for a very long time. They allow whatever WWE is doing on Raw, and they are okay with it. They are okay with it. They don't even bat an eye. All they want is, well, Fox is getting it, why don't we? That's all they do. They like to bitch and moan about getting something that generally would not work. Like Hell in a Cell. Oh, but Fox got a Hell in a Cell match with Roman. Why can't we get one with our champion? That's all they know how to do. Instead of actually fixing the fucking show, they want to cry and bitch why Fox is getting something and they're not. So I'm assuming Stephanie met with Fox and not USA Network. Now, the Monday Night Raw ratings this coming Monday, or this past Monday, were an all-time record low. It's very clear that the product is fucking the worst it's ever been. It is stale. Something needs to get done to get this show back to decency. People have watched for years and have grown tired of the WWE product. I mean, look at Monday Night Raw. Look at Monday Night Raw. I don't even have notes in front of me. I have nothing but this story and bullet points in front of me. Look at Monday Night Raw, folks. Look at the start of the show, okay? I'm mentioning this now before we even get into the fucking ratings. Look at the start of the show. Monday Night Raw started off with Miz TV. You got Miz, who's a comedy geek. You got John Morrison, who's wearing fucking ridiculous glasses that say drip drip. He's got a fucking super soaker that he's labeled the drip stick. He's not even a serious performer anymore. You got these guys squirting water at people. You got Ricochet rapping his own name on fucking Monday Night Raw. You got Drew McIntyre coming out talking about swords and fucking sea creatures and fictional wars. You got Matt Riddle sitting on top of a ladder telling everybody how high he is. Thanks, Bruce. I know Matt Riddle likes his extracurricular activities. Give me a fucking break with this comedy shit. Really. Who else is in Money in the Bank that Kevin Owens is on SmackDown, Big E's on SmackDown, Raw. That's it. You got these three guys. Morrison, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre, and Riddle on Monday Night Raw. It came off as a fucking joke. Meanwhile, this briefcase holds a contract for a future World Championship match on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, depending on which one they choose. This should be a serious fucking thing. This is going to be the make or break moment of your career. And here we are talking about fucking dripsticks and sea creatures and swords. And Ricochet's fucking rapping, showing everybody why he should not have a fucking microphone on Monday Night Raw. A joke. Then you got Monday Night Raw's women's division. Got Eva Marie, barely able to fucking do a collar and elbow tie-up. I don't even wrestle, and I could probably take a better bump than fucking Eva Marie. You got Shayna Baszler and her not winning a fucking match for 160 days. You got Nikki Cross coming out looking like a goddamn fucking comic book character. I don't know whether she's fucking gonna appear in the next Batman animated movie or she's a fucking pro wrestler. Nikki Ash. Because Nikki Cross can't happen because Karrion Kross is being called up to the main roster. So they named her Nikki Ash. Nikki Ashtray. It smells like a fucking ashtray. Nikki Ass. Because the fucking character is fucking ass. It's exactly what it is. Ash. How the fuck you come up with that name? Is she gonna catch Pokemon? Ash Ketchum. Nikki Ash Ketchum. Oh, look, I caught a Pikachu. Now I can add him to the collection of my 67 other fucking Pikachus. What a fucking joke. Then you got geeks online. Oh, she's gonna get it over. If there's anybody that could do it, Nikki Cross is gonna get it over. Yeah, you know how well it's getting over with fans? That you got a 1.47 for Monday Night Raw. That's how it's getting over. And I talked about this already on Nikki Ash and her behalf anyway. WWE chose this gimmick for her. The report says, oh, Nikki came up with this concept and idea by herself. You know, this is why I am the best at what I do. You don't got anybody asking the hard-hitting fucking questions. Here's my fucking line of questioning to all these fucking idiots online. How many other gimmicks did Nikki Cross give Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard for approval? If she gave 10 ideas, 9 of them were dismissed. You know which one they chose? This one. This is the one that they approved. She may have come up with all 10 concepts, but how many of the concepts got dismissed, and which one were they left with that they actually liked? This one. Why was this one approved? Because it makes Nikki Cross the biggest embarrassment of the other 9. Or compared to the other 9. I don't see anybody else in the community asking these questions. Why am I here on this show, on this platform, asking these hard-hitting questions? That's what I want to know. Oh, but Nikki Cross came up with the idea. Yeah? Yeah, really? Eva Marie, Nikki Cross, Asuka's a joke, Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley is fucking unbearable garbage. Charlotte Flair is legitimately the most overrated woman in all of WWE. She's more concerned about what type of picture she's going to take with Andrade, or what type of photo shoot I'm going to have this week, in what color bikini on some sandy white beach somewhere with Andrade, than her in-ring work. She's more concerned about that than her in-ring work, because she has been fucking awful. She has emitted I don't care vibes throughout this entire return of hers. And you know what? Rhea Ripley's suffering for it as well. She is at a point, both of them are. They're at a point where they don't even have go-away heat anymore. It's legitimately just people walk away because they don't care to see the sight of both of these women. Monday's Raw with these two and the crutches that they had and this medical update that Charlotte Flair had was a complete embarrassment, man. Rhea Ripley hobbling around on one leg on a crutch to imitate. I'm getting sick just talking about it. Kofi Kingston's in the main event against Bobby Lashley. Nobody thinks Kofi Kingston's gonna beat Bobby Lashley. Give me a fucking break. You had Kofi Mania 2 years ago. Now you want to try and relive Kofi Mania again at half of its fucking momentum? Probably less than half. But here I am. Oh, JD's negative. Have you watched Monday Night Raw? No women's division, no tag team division. The Money in the Bank build has been fucking terrible. Outside of Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, who hasn't even been there for the last 2 weeks, Drew McIntyre's been fucking awful as a babyface, but he's got some great matches on Monday night. No tag team division. What exactly is there to watch on Monday night and say, hey, man, I want to watch Raw. Hey, man, I thought Raw was good. If you're one of these geeks that says Raw is good or Raw has been better or Raw is getting better, Raw was decent, you know what's decent? It's decent of you to go get a proper education because you come off like a blithering fucking idiot. There's nobody in their right mind that could really think that Monday Night Raw is decent television. Nobody. Then you wonder why Monday Night Raw is at a 1.47 for the 4th of July holiday. Oh, but it's the 4th of July holiday, they say. How many people are using these fucking excuses? It's 4th of July holiday. I don't know. Let me take a look back at the fucking other years that we had. 2020, 2019, 2018. You could go back as far as the eye can see for 4th of July, man. How many 4th of Julys have we been celebrating? How many times has Monday Night Raw had to compete with a holiday or a sports event or a fucking finals of an NBA or an NHL or a fucking World Series? How many times? How many times? Like these things don't happen on a year-to-year basis, right? You people need to open your eyes and look at the year-over-year numbers about what is going on. Look at the last 3 to 5 years of 4th of July Raws. Go look at those ratings and then compare it to this year. Where did everybody go? Where did everybody go? That's right, they're not watching because the product sucks. Next thing you know, it's going to be people are going to be complaining about the fucking month that Monday Night Raw is taking place. Oh yeah, it's September. Kids are going back to school. Nobody's watching Monday Night Raw. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break, man. I had to take my grandma grocery shopping. I usually do this every Monday night at 5 p.m. I can't watch Raw. You fucking serious? What excuses you gonna come up with next? Oh, I had to walk my dog. I don't have time to watch Monday Night Raw. People are ridiculous with the excuses, man. Raw sucks, and the ratings show for it. July 4th happened on a Sunday. Monday, everybody was home getting ready for work on Tuesday. Where exactly are the people watching this show? Not watching because the show sucks. Stop with the excuses. Stop defending garbage. Now, Stephanie McMahon is talking to a network, which I said after my fucking rant about Raw. She's meeting with Fox. She's not meeting with USA Network. Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast noted that Stephanie McMahon is set for a meeting at the end of this month to talk about some of the ideas that have been pitched by one of the WWE networks. Zarian said, I don't know which network it was, Fox. But somebody told me that Steph has a meeting with one of the networks at the end of the month for pitched ideas from said network. I don't know if this is a common thing that they do or if this is a regular thing, but I know that the networks are pitching ideas. End quote. Now, Zarian had previously reported that some of the suggested concepts include Raw Roulette, Legends Night, and a King of the Ring tournament returning this year, as well as a monthly point system based on wins, losses, signature moves, etc. Folks, listen, I talked about this, how many episodes ago? Was it 2 or 3 episodes ago? How to fix WWE. The simplest ways to fix WWE. You know, we could sit here and say Raw needs to be 2 hours. It's not. Raw's never going to be 2 hours again because the networks are greedy. The networks want their ad revenue. It's all that it boils down to. I gave ideas for WWE fixing their pay-per-view calendar. I gave ideas for incorporating ways to make every pay-per-view kind of bleed into the next. Give it some consistency. Give it some, momentum from show to show. King of the Ring tournament, I like the idea. You don't need to really have a point system for a random month that does really nothing for anybody and doesn't lead to anything. There was an idea as well on top of the point system where one of the networks pitched maybe a World Cup, Wrestling World Cup tournament. Not needed. You got something like that right now that you coined King of the Ring. So why don't you just merge both of those ideas into the same thing and give yourself a month of quality television? We talked about this. It's not that difficult. Fix the pay-per-view calendar. Make shows important on a weekly basis. Give people a reason to watch. You do nothing to get investment from the fans to watch. You don't announce anything for these shows on a weekly basis. The only reason why they announced shit for the coming week was because the show was taped. That was it. They do nothing to generate any excitement. Rematches after rematches after rematches. How many fucking times have we seen Ricochet and John Morrison in the last 3 weeks? Every fucking week. It was great the first time, so WWE's like, oh, they enjoyed it. Let's give it to them 6 more fucking times. How many rematches? How many fucking rematches? I don't get it. You want a way to fix the WWE product? End the goddamn brand split. Subtract some titles that don't mean jack shit. End it. Merge your tag team divisions. Merge your women's divisions. I don't know how anybody on a fucking network can look at a women's division with 6 women and call it a division. Why aren't people watching? Because nobody wants to see Liv Morgan versus Carmella 4 weeks in a row. Nobody wants to see Charlotte and Rhea Ripley fucking android their way to television. 3 pay-per-views in a row for Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Please tell me how the fuck you are interested and invested in this shit. End the brand split. How do you fix the current product? Maybe call up somebody from NXT and, I don't know, push them? Use them? Build the fucking company's future around them? What happened to Keith Lee? Where is Keith Lee? How much of an impact has Damian Priest made on the main roster since being called up before WrestleMania? It took Apollo Crews 5 fucking years to finally get a spot on television. 5! Karrion Kross is about to be doomed. Bronson Reed's about to be doomed. Sooner rather than later, EO and Adam Cole are about to be fucking doomed. Tony Storm and Shotzi Blackheart are rumored to be called up. That's not going to fix a fucking division. Becky Lynch is coming back. Watch all the geeks out there celebrate Becky Lynch coming back. The Savior is back. It don't help. None of this will help. There's too many fucking idiots out there that love applying Band-Aids. And when the Band-Aid falls off, I'm the one that tells you, I told you so. Raw Roulette, Legends Night. Band-Aids. Band-Aids. You want to do a Raw Roulette? Incorporate it into what's going on with WWE television and make it like NXT made it with Halloween Havoc. Because that worked. That was the best NXT show all year. Last year. That worked. Legends Night? How many legends do you have? How many legends do you got? Half of them went to AEW because you bullied them off Monday Night Raw in January. King of the Ring, I told you about this. It needs to be a yearly thing. You can't be doing King of the Ring and leaving somebody as king for 3 years. Every single year. Tournaments are a great way to build up talent, build momentum for people that don't have it. Merge the divisions, end the brand split. I don't know what else I got to do to tell you. I'm working for free here. It'll take me no time to get to Stamford, Connecticut. I'll work for free as long as I save my fucking voice talking about this fucking horrendous program. Stephanie McMahon talking to the networks will get nothing done. What exactly are the networks going to do to help Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown? They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit. They give a shit because you made them look like a bunch of fucking idiots. Bunch of fools. You swindled them into billions of dollars, and this is the product that you go out there and present? As if WWE says, hey, we're World Wrestling Entertainment. You should be lucky that we are on your network. Meanwhile, Fox can do so much better than SmackDown and NBC Universal could do so much better than fucking Monday Night Raw. They don't need Raw or SmackDown. What is Stephanie McMahon going to do? Does she know what's wrong? Is she going to go against Daddy Vince? Probably not. All the ideas that she throws out are probably going to be fed from Vince McMahon. Hey, honey, listen, go and talk to the networks. I don't have time to do it. I'm scripting my next burial from NXT. Go and talk to them and tell them exactly what I would tell them. It's probably what she said. It's unreal. The networks don't give a shit. They don't know. Half of these people don't even fucking know how to spell pro wrestling. All they see is a big name. Oh, this guy's a star. Who's this? Who's that? They don't give a fuck. What is Stephanie going to do? What are the networks going to do? Listen, you want ideas to be pitched in help of WWE's boosting their ratings? The problem exists. The problem is right there, Steph. The problem is right underneath your nose. Maybe you should borrow Paul's nose. It seems to be a lot larger than yours. Maybe he could sniff out the fucking problem better than you. The problem isn't the networks. The problem isn't Stephanie McMahon. The problem is your father. The problem is Bruce. The problem is Vince lining up a team of fucking glorified, fucking pussified yes men that do his bidding. They write the show for him. They don't write the show for them. They don't write the show for the roster. They don't write the show for us. They write it because they write it for Vince. Would Vince like it? Would Vince get a laugh out of it? Does Vince want this guy to be pushed? Fuck us. So when you go to the network and you ask these people, hey, what type of ideas do you guys want? I got a list of ideas. Is it going to be genuine? When the network's ex Stephanie McMahon, how are we going to fix these ratings? Is she going to give any indication that the fucking internal problem is Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and the rest of the fucking writing team? Yes, let's meet with Fox so that the shows get worse. And a NASCAR night and an MLB night and a bobblehead night and a fucking fathead night, whatever you want to do. A Sunday night, football night, whatever the case may be. I don't want any cross integration with other fucking leagues. That shit doesn't work. You're gonna get fans for a night and they never stick around because the show that you put on is fucking trash. So the cross-pollination of fucking leagues, promotion, it's not gonna work. Spare me. Worry about your own fucking audience. You've alienated them enough in the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, where they're not even around anymore. Yeah, so the ideas on how to fix the show, Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, get them the fuck out. Then the shows will be exactly where they need to be. Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast today. This is episode 382 of Off the Script. We are getting into the second half of the show. We got a lot more to go over, man. Malakai Black and the debut on Dynamite. Why the former Aleister Black was able to debut on Dynamite 35 days after his WWE release. What was the actual reason for this? Somebody in WWE is getting fired. That is all I know. Or at least that's what I would do if I were Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon should have never fired Aleister Black in the first place, but to have such a ridiculous reason as to why this guy was able to pretty much set up his character on SmackDown and WWE realistically set him up for his debut on AEW, it's a little ridiculous, man. We're going to go over that. Buddy Murphy is in the news where he's going to end up. He was tweeting a lot on Wednesday night as Black made his AEW debut. And I also got news on Bayley. Late breaking news as I was recording the show. Bayley is out 9 months. I don't know what for. No, she's not pregnant. But Bayley is out 9 months, missing Money in the Bank. Could actually take her into next year and possibly have her miss WrestleMania. It's a big story going around right now. We're going to find out who Bianca Belair's opponent is at Money in the Bank. That was originally scheduled to be Bayley. So we got a lot more going on here in the second half of the podcast. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. Today, sponsored by my great friends over at Sheath. That is sheathunderwear.com/scripts, where you guys can simply use the promo code SCRIPT and save 20% off any purchase on their website, man. Sheath is awesome. They hooked me up with some. I've been wearing some, and I think they feel fantastic. I think they look great. And Sheath, they're boxers that are designed to keep your balls off your legs. And I know you guys got some problems with that, especially with how hot it's been this summer so far. Sheath has 3 individual compartments to keep everything down there separate, cool, and comfortable. Traditional boxer briefs. Man, I don't get how people wear these boxer briefs or these quote-unquote tighty whities, man. It's almost insane to think about how people find them to be comfortable. It's like barbaric is a good word to use. It's barbaric to even know and realize that guys are wearing that stuff in the summertime, and it's like, oh my God, man, what are you doing to yourself? Seriously. Sheath has a modern design, and it's intended to prevent skin-on-skin contact for long durations, which can build up heat and sweat. Sheath prevents all that. It is the holy grail of underwear. There is an inverted kangaroo pouch for all of your stuff down there, from sticking to your thigh. You will chafe and readjust less because everything is in a separate compartment, and because everything is separate, there is less smell too. You don't want a smelly package down there, okay? Believe me, the ladies aren't going to appreciate that. They were invented by a U.S. Army soldier who came up with the idea for Sheath during his second tour in Iraq, where it was hot as hell, man. And his boys needed to breathe. I guess, in some sense, he can be looked at as a hero. So there you go. So guys, if you guys want to experience Sheath and make yourself feel comfortable this summer, sheathunderwear.com/scripts is the website. Link is down below in the description. Link is down in the comment section, pinned at the very top. Or if you guys want to just go the traditional way, you can enter code SCRIPT at checkout in the promo panel. You're going to save 20% off. Listen, man, you're saving money, and because you're wearing Sheath, I'm telling you right now, your balls will thank you. sheathunderwear.com/script. Save yourself 20% off, and I want to thank them for once again being a great friend and a great sponsor of the podcast right here on Off the Script. Getting into the rest of the news, man, let's talk about Malakai Black. His debut on Dynamite. Shocking, to say the least. Now, I know a lot of people are out there. There's a small group of people out there that I really don't get, man. I feel like they are people with some screws loose. I think people make content for the sake of making content because they want to go out there and virtue signal for whatever reason. It's so disgusting to see. I see these geeks out there. Oh, well, don't you think WWE knows what they're doing? Don't you think AEW is signing too many ex-WWE guys? Don't you think that Tony Khan is sitting on a roster that he needs to cut half the roster? You know, these geeks online, these slobs, these virgins, these fucking eggs online, people that have the IQ of a fucking box of pebbles, you know? It's ridiculous. Malakai Black released a promo or vignette earlier in the day, and it made waves on social media. It was beautifully produced and directed. It showed him with ex-NXT talent Josiah Williams and some unnamed man playing a psychiatrist or a doctor in a psych ward. Aleister Black was handcuffed to a table, killed the psychiatrist right then and there, killed Josiah Williams as well. He went insane for 5 years being in WWE. At the end of the promo, he said, "The devil made me do it," and he was whistling down a dark hallway wearing a beautiful gray suit. Malakai Black was born. My name is Malachi. Malakai Black. I did not, at the time of viewing this, think he was going to show up on Dynamite. I was one of the guys that were like, oh, yeah, he got released, 90 days. We'll see him at All Out. Whatever. After All Out, it is what it is. And then all of a sudden, Cody's in the ring wrestling QT Marshall in a strap match on Dynamite. Lights go out. Nobody knows what's going on. Arn Anderson is in the ring later on in the show, maybe an hour later, talking about how it's great to be back in front of live fans. Lights go out again, just like it did in the Cody Rhodes match in the beginning of the show. And there is Malakai Black. Tommy End is standing in the ring. And he gives Arn Anderson a black mass. Beautiful. Cody Rhodes gets into the ring. He's yelling at Black. Black is unfazed. He gives Cody a black mass. I had to watch this debut about 6 or 7 times, man, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever it was on social media. It was a perfect debut for the former Aleister Black. It made waves on social media. Jesse and I had the biggest AEW podcast of the year outside of what happened with Sting in December. It was something that blew up. People are excited. People are excited about WWE talent that was never given an opportunity. People are excited about somebody that had all the promise in the world and all the hype in the world to be the next future piece of the company, and WWE had no fucking clue how to use. Then, like I said, you got these geeks online. It's WWE getting rid of these guys because they know what they're doing. Is AEW picking up all WWE scraps? You know, they're cutting budget. They need to cut the budget, as if anybody gives a fuck about the budget. Is AEW's Tony Khan signing WWE talent just for the hell of it? Is it starting to look like ex-WWE landfill? Whatever the case may be. But my question is, if you look up and down the WWE roster, how many talents on WWE television are not homegrown? There's really nobody that was on television nowadays. Maybe 1 or 2, 3 tops. Roman Reigns, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky. Even Sasha isn't homegrown. Sasha was a indie talent before she made her way to the WWE. Bianca Belair. A lot of the women are homegrown. But most of the roster, Roman Reigns is another one homegrown. A lot of the roster is probably once upon a time your favorite indie wrestler. So why are people complaining that Tony Khan is signing ex-WWE guys and there's too many WWE guys over in AEW? It's amazing to me how stupid you sound. Because I want to put you in Tony Khan's shoes. Really. I want you to be in Tony Khan's shoes. Okay? First of all, nobody's going to tell Tony Khan what to do with his fucking money. Number 2, if you were in Tony Khan's shoes, or if you were a wrestling promoter, you don't even have to be Tony Khan. If you were a wrestling promoter, okay? Would you not go out there and entertain Aleister Black? Knowing that Black and Buddy Murphy and Ruby Riott and Miro and all these other guys, Andrade, are free agents. Do you not go out there and entertain and offer to them? Is there absolutely no interest? So if you were a wrestling promoter, if you were the head of your own wrestling company, you mean to tell me that you would not even bat an eye at a guy like Black or a guy like Andrade? El Idolo. You mean to tell me you wouldn't go out there and entertain an offer to him? I find that very difficult to believe. So it's either one of 2 things. Number 1, you're a complete virtue signaling fuck and your content sucks. Or number 2, you're a complete fucking idiot who shouldn't be talking about pro wrestling, let alone fictionally or fantasizing about running one. Give me a break. You people are fucking mental. You really are. AEW is doing what they need to do to generate interest. The one thing that I think about during this entire thing, and we'll get into the reason why Black was allowed to debut on Dynamite 30 days after his WWE release. The one thing that I find fucked up is, what do you think Triple H is thinking about here? Is Triple H, this is why I'd love to be a fly on the fucking wall when he's laying in bed with Stephanie McMahon. What do you think he tells his wife? Oh, man. You know, Black is, he's on Dynamite now. These are the ideas I had for him. And I don't believe your father fucked everything up. This is exactly what I gave him. And he squandered it. He ruined it. Cast it off as nothing. He told me he didn't know what to do with him. Why he took him from me, I don't know. Do you think Triple H is genuinely happy to see somebody that he physically gave this gimmick to? They worked with him. They gave him the presence and the character and the music and the ambiance and everything. gave him the fucking ins and outs of production on how to work a televised wrestling match in WWE. He took everything that he learned from Triple H and goes to AEW. Pretty much. They kept him off TV for fucking, I want to say over a year, with some things thrown in between. This guy gets a Dark Father vignette for 3 weeks. Then he comes back, he ruins Big E from winning the Intercontinental Championship, and he gets thrown into an outcome that's saved Apollo Crews in retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Starts a feud with Big E, supposedly, only to get released. So all that he did with this gimmick, which was his idea, they finally found something that's going to work for this guy and get him on TV. He took all of this that WWE had prepared for him, has taken it to the next level, and WWE pretty much set him up for his debut on Dynamite. How does anybody in that company live with themselves, is what I want to know. Don't you find that to be fucking ridiculous? Whoever is in charge there, man, I swear to God, you got to be the dumbest idiot I've ever seen. Seriously. What do you think Triple H is thinking about here? Like, Vince, you had this on your roster and you just let him walk into the other company. Now, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say Black, Tommy End, whatever you want to call him, Malakai Black. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to have a difference on the ratings. I'm not saying that he's going to have a difference on the ratings. I'm not saying there's going to be a needle mover or a difference maker in the ratings. AEW's not all of a sudden overnight going to take over WWE. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about giving people the alternative. It's about giving us a wrestling product that we hoped for in WWE, and right now we're not getting. And if that has to be with ex-WWE guys, then so be it. But I don't want you geeks out there, these fucking AEW haters out there, to have it go unnoticed that AEW, no matter how many times you want to use that as a crutch, how many times you use, oh, well, WWE guys are infesting AEW. How many times you want to use that as a crutch? How many times have we seen MJF, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Luchasaurus, and others that I've failed to mention here, right? Private Party, The Acclaimed, Max Caster is another one who's gaining a lot of traction. How many guys has AEW positioned in the pandemic era to potentially be a main event guy down the road? Ricky Starks is another one. It's almost as if these facts, they go unspoken of when the AEW haters, the virtual signaling WWE elitists out there that make shit content, okay? It's almost as if that fact goes unnoticed, like AEW's not pushing the future as well as bringing in a guy like Black that, I don't know if you've watched the fucking show, has done nothing. They sat this guy in a fucking broom closet for 3 years. Is that someone you're not going to give an opportunity to? Miro was popping out of a fucking wedding cake watching his wife make out with Bobby Lashley. Andrade, they split Vega from him and let him go solo with no translator. That guy was a fucking waste. The only thing that Andrade gave them was his match with Gargano in Philadelphia at TakeOver. That was it. As soon as he made it to the main roster, the only thing I can remember is those series of matches that I had with Mysterio that WWE was all over. And we never saw again. He didn't do anything. So spare me the bullshit that AEW is signing ex-WWE guys. You know when I'll have a fucking problem with it? And you know when you should have a problem with it? When they bring in Braun Strowman. That's when you should have a problem. Because you can't get any more fucking WWE than fucking Braun Strowman. So cut the shit. This is great. Everything that I hoped for. Everything that I wanted. That debut was fucking perfect. Absolutely perfect. And a match with Cody Rhodes is the right thing for him. It's a fucking huge upgrade from WWE's plans and him feuding with Big E. So who's winning here? Black or WWE? Black is taking W's and WWE continues to take L's. Please scribe me some more. There was a clerical error that allowed Aleister Black to debut on Dynamite 35 days after his release. Somebody's getting fired, if not already. PW Insider reported that there was a clerical error that opened the door for Black, using the name now Malakai Black, to debut on Dynamite on Wednesday. Saw him attack Arn Anderson and Cody Rhodes. Basically, what happened was, when Black was moved from the NXT roster to the main roster a few years ago, company forgot to update the standard 30-day non-compete to 90 days that was given to all main roster members. This mistake allowed him to be free from his 90-day, or from his 30-day non-compete, rather. Instead of giving him a 90-day, he had 30-day after his release, and that is how he was able to jump to AEW on Wednesday. One has to wonder now, because I immediately thought this, one has to wonder if they got some fucking geek running the books looking if everybody now has 90 days or 30 days on their fucking NXT contract. Oh, man. You can't make this shit up, man. You can't make it up. What a bunch of fucking idiots, man. They got this guy ready for the biggest push of his fucking life. All because you found nothing in him. You found no value in him. Oh, my God, man. Yeah, let's shit on Tony Khan for finding something in somebody that WWE clearly knew they had and they didn't give a fuck about. Oh, man, you gotta love it. Anybody that doesn't want a guy like Black on their roster, man, you should stop talking about professional wrestling, really. You should really just quit while you're ahead. Now, the fact that he had a 30-day instead of a 90-day, Buddy Murphy was interviewed by Fightful. And WWE, because he was released after Aleister Black, I believe, right? I believe he was released after Aleister Black. And Buddy Murphy was released. WWE called Buddy Murphy in what he said was panic mode after his release because they feared that the same mistake had been made on his contract. Then he checked the details and confirmed that his non-compete clause is, in fact, for 90 days and not for 30, like Black had. He confirmed that his non-compete was 90 days, but WWE called him in a panic after his release, thinking that he might also be 30 days as a result of what happened with Aleister Black. WWE offered to extend his non-compete clause to 90 days. They offered to extend. As if the offer sounds really great. Which would get him 60 extra days of his downside guarantee payment. So I guess it does work out that he's getting paid for the 90 days. He's getting paid for an extra 3 months before he inevitably finds work immediately. But they didn't need him. They told him they didn't want him, they didn't need him, and they were going to pay him anyway just to have him sit home for 90 days, which, I mean, I don't see how that makes sense. 30 days, maybe. I heard a report that WWE was a little bit more lenient on letting these things go and cutting these clauses from the contracts, but you're paying him to sit home and do nothing. Meanwhile, you can save money on not paying him because clearly you don't need him. Have him go somewhere else. What the fuck do you care? You let Aleister Black go. You let everybody else before that. You let Andrade out of his fucking contract with no non-compete. He showed up in AEW. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Why pay them if you have no reason for them on your roster? So WWE offered this. He's got 90 days instead of 30. His non-compete clause is up on August 31st, which is just a few days before All Out on September 5th. It was also noted that Murphy is dealing with a visa situation, so he needs to get that sorted out quickly. He needs to find work in the United States if he wants to stay here and make some money. And that will require him to sign immediately with another company. They are absolutely out of their minds, man. It really is just a fucking circus in WWE. I don't know. Then they wanted him back. That's the funny thing. They wanted him back. Somebody figured it out. Soon as he was, literally a week after he was released, there was talk about, yeah, WWE wants him back. They think it's a mistake. Yeah, why is it a mistake? Did you want him back? Or did you realize too late that he had 30 days instead of 90 days? Oh, man, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. There was every fucking reason under the sun as to why this guy showed up on Wednesday night. I even brought up the idea to Jesse on Wednesday. Zelina Vega looks like a bigger fucking fool for her husband showing up in AEW. She was signed to the company. She admittedly went to the PC, or it was reported that she was there. She was obviously there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been reported by notable people in the community, reputable people. She was at the Performance Center. Something with Simone Johnson, The Rock's daughter. She was filming something, whether she was filming or training. You're not there as a uncontracted employee. Number one, you're there, your contract. So she signed the contract. Or was in the midst of signing a deal, working out a deal, whatever. She was on her way back. At the time she was there, Black was still with the company. He was being given these Dark Father vignettes, feuding with Big E, starting that program on SmackDown, and then he was fired the week after. So WWE brought Vega back, knowing that they had her under contract, knowing that she had signed when Aleister was still there. Then he got fired. How stupid does she look? How lame does WWE look? How fucked up does WWE look about that? Now she's stuck without her husband. Then she goes on social media with his debut on Dynamite. Oh, now we can finally get that house built that we always wanted. Yes, please bury yourself some further, or deeper, Miss Vega. Bury yourself further with all the bullshit that you caused on social media because you were a sellout. Zelina Vega. Which she still is, by the way. It's amazing. It's amazing how people just glorified her coming back and social justice, her coming back, virtue signaled her coming back. These are the same people that willingly made videos. I stand with Vega. I stand with Vega. She did the right thing going against the evil empire, right? And then when she comes back, then I guess all that content that you created because you're a fucking social justice warrior, virtue signaling fucking asshole. I guess the content doesn't mean anything now because you didn't stand with Vega. You stand with her being a sellout. I never understood this. Why are you upset? Why are you so in the news here? Why are you so adamant about, who are you telling who are you telling Vega, how much money she could make? I never seen such, it's like people don't care about what is right and what is wrong. They just follow the lemmings right off the cliff. Nobody's a follower here. Everybody's a follower. Nobody's a leader. Everybody's a fucking follower. They're not a leader. I stood with Vega. You know what I did? I don't stand with her now because of the decision that she made. It's unreal. Nobody thinks of that, though. She signed. Her husband was there. She signed on the dotted line officially. Fired. Fired as Black. It's unbelievable to me. Now, this is a big deal. Him going over there is a big deal. It really is. I think this is going to be a renaissance of his career. It really is. He brings so much legitimacy to them. He brings a character. His creative freedom is going to be showcased there. It's going to be taken to the next level, man. WWE is going to regret that they let this guy go. It's going to be felt immediately. This is a future world champion. This is a main event guy that you let go. He had inklings of Undertaker influence in his act. Nobody's going to be the next Undertaker, but he had inklings of Undertaker-esque vibe to him. He had that allure to him, that mystery around him. Even more so now. I mean, the guy is so fucking creative, he's taking some fucking bullshit, terrible storyline that WWE gave him, which nobody knew he was a part of or cared that he was a part of. Nobody understood why he was a part of it. In the middle of the pandemic, selling a fucking eye injury from Seth Rollins, this guy is so creative, he's taken that terrible gimmick and actually incorporating it into his new character on AEW television. Writing for WWE because they refuse to write for him. Again, further proving that they're a bunch of imbeciles. How can you not like that? He looked all pasty white. It looked like the Undertaker of the early 90s to me. Very Undertaker vibe there. It's going to be great. It's going to be fucking awesome. Now, who knew of his debut? Who knew? Nobody knew after watching the vignette. We were like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to AEW. We got to wait 90 days. He'll be there. So he discussed this on Twitch. As soon as his debut happened, he went on Twitch the next day. He says, and I quote, to keep it a surprise. He wanted to really keep it a surprise. It was a hassle to keep under wraps Once I found out that my contract was a tad different than usual, I just came up with the idea. I had already made the character movie, and I came up with this idea, and the company liked it, so we ran with it. It was all very last second. I feel like in modern day wrestling, there are very few moments to make a genuine surprise and get people to look your way. For me to sneak in, not be seen, dip and dive so they wouldn't see me, that took some skill. Kudos to AEW and the entire crew. What a great operation they have there. It feels good where I am in a place where my creative mind can be utilized instead of stopped and controlled, and knowing that things weren't going to work out. I pitched the idea and said, what if we do multiple blackouts during the show, and insinuated the technical difficulties? Commentary did a great job getting that over, and it came off great. We made it a thing to make it available to as limited people as possible, because that's how you keep it under wraps. Security, Cody Rhodes, and others knew. A few others knew. It may have been 5 or 6 people total. It was a good feeling. It's been a rough 7 or 8 months, but I feel like I got a win on Wednesday. I feel wrestling got a win. Last night was top 3, one of my favorite moments ever of my career. I slept for 3 hours because my adrenaline was so high. It was the culmination of months and months and months of having this big payoff. It was all worth the pain, chaos, and perseverance. Then he spoke on Twitch about the passionate people working for AEW, arguing that signing with AEW is the right move for him right now. Black said, it was the right move for me to make, the right move for my family, the right move for my career, the right move for my state of mind that I'm currently in right now. It's just a really good company. I can't say enough good things about it. They have a bright future, and there are a lot of dedicated people, and I'm glad to be a part of it. This is a winner, folks. This is a winner. Look at what they did for him on night 1. Look at what they did for him on night 1. How big of a deal they made him on night 1. That's what that's what Triple H gave you. That's what Triple H gave you. Coming out of NXT. Why aren't you more upset? Why are you looking at this as a bad thing? That's what I don't get. You like to see talent wasted? How do you think Triple H feels? That he and WWE set this guy up for this moment. This moment is what Triple H worked for him to debut on. That's not a W to me, man. If I'm him, I am fucking pissed. Pissed. Vince McMahon, finally on this guy. Vince McMahon didn't think Aleister Black's new theme music was music. I don't know why he needed new theme music to begin with. What was wrong with his old theme music? It was one of the more popular themes in WWE by Code Orange, the NXT theme. I don't get it. You got NXT themes by people on the roster now that still are using their NXT themes. Matt Riddle, Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler, Bobby Roode has his music, Shinsuke Nakamura has Finn Balor. What's the problem? Why did he need new theme music? Oh, that's right. He was a product of indecisiveness. That's why. That's why. His entrance was too good. His entrance was overshadowing everybody else on the main roster. I can't have Triple H and his body of work overshadow what I do on the main roster. That's why it was changed. As soon as people got a glimpse of what he was, it got axed. They started tinkering with shit, the creaking of the fucking casket that he was coming up in, that added that fucking bullshit sound effect. We didn't need that. They added the pew, pew, pew to Ricochet. Ridiculous. They love to change shit that doesn't need to be changed because it's not their idea. They want to make it better. That's the reason why they do it. Triple H gave this guy everything that he needed. He sent him off to Vince McMahon without a fucking thing needed to be done. What do you think Vince McMahon does? Changes everything about him. Changed his entrance. Changed his theme music. Tinkered with his fucking entrance. Changed the fucking appearance of him. Put him in a fucking eye patch. Took him off TV. Had him cut promos about picking a fight with people. Nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. They turned this guy into a fucking Jack Sparrow wannabe on the main roster. Arr! Pirate Black! Join me, mate! Join me, shipmatey! Sir! I'm gonna have ye walk the plank! You fucking see, I'm surprised they didn't go that far. I'm genuinely shocked they didn't go that far, man. Man ye cannons, mateys! Arr! Jesus fucking Christ, man. You figure with the fucking goddamn pirate ship in Raymond James Stadium, they would have had a perfect backdrop for Aleister Black. Vince McMahon thought his new theme music wasn't music. He talked about this while speaking with Johnny Christ on his Drinks with Johnny show. Aleister Black talked about his new theme song that was created by the band Brutality Will Prevail. They sound very emo-core, if you ask me, but I refrain. Aleister Black's got some good taste in music. He recalled having Vince McMahon listen to it, and McMahon didn't think it was music at all. Really? What the fuck does Vince McMahon know about heavy metal music? So we record the song. I remember sitting with Vince in the office, and I said, look, I've got this new song. It's heavy as shit. He's like, oh, let me hear it. So I play the song for him. And he goes, does the volume change? Does the speed change? And I'm like, yeah, it's coming up. It's going faster. So he listens to it and he's like, wow. He's like, I mean, I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know that's the music that I would want for you, but hey, I'm 76 years old. What the fuck do I know? He says, end quote. So basically, he gave me the okay for the music, but for some reason, we couldn't mesh it out. We have all the rights to the song, but I think that WWE's worries are, and I understand this part because it has happened in the past where they've used outside sources and then all of a sudden, even when everything contractual is done, someone goes, yeah, but I want royalties or I want this or I want to have credit, and then it causes lawsuits, it causes issues. So WWE does everything in-house, which I understand, end quote. Now, one has to wonder if he's going to be able to use this theme music for AEW, or if they're going to have Mikey Ruckus write some really fucking cool, thrash, dark, brooding music for this guy. But if he's got theme music all ready to go and he owns the rights to it, I mean, who gives a shit? Just use it. He's going to need something to go along with the vibe. I don't know if anybody's out there that's going to really be able to capture the vibe of an Aleister Black. I don't know if that's going to be possible. So if he's got the rights to it, let's use it. Let's go for it. But Vince McMahon didn't need to change anything about this guy at all. And the reason why they changed is the reason that I gave you. They can't let Triple H just send them off. Everything's done. All you got to do, you don't even have to fucking unwrap it. He's already got it for you. Just put it on TV. Put it on TV. Let it fly. Let it go. Right for him. Showcase him as a star. They can't even do that. Now we got to change this. Then you're off TV for fucking a year and a half. By the time you get back, they don't know what to fucking do with you. Everything's changed about you that we once remembered. Then you're fired. How the NBA Finals will affect Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW. So, Meltzer talked about this and broke down the projected 7-game series of the NBA Finals right now. Raw is unfazed. So I want to see people when Raw gets fucking shit ratings from this point on. I want to see how people use the NBA Finals. Raw is home free, says Meltzer. There's no competition for Monday Night Raw. So no NBA Finals for Raw when it comes to the big basketball competition. But AEW Dynamite and the July 14th show will have stiff competition with a Game 4. It looks like Game 1 of the NBA Finals is Tuesday. So that's against NXT. That was the Great American Bash. If Raw isn't up a lot, that is not good. Yeah, but the 4th of July holiday is the reason why they were down, right? It has nothing to do with the show being bad. It should be up a lot. AEW is clean too. The next game is Thursday against Impact. Then the third game is Sunday, which goes against the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Game 4 is the 14th, which goes against the Sellout Dynamite show. Game 5, if needed, would be on Saturday, July 17th. Game 6 would be on the 20th, which would be another Tuesday. And then if Game 7 is needed, it would be July 22nd, which would be a Thursday. So Raw is home free at least until the Olympics. Now, I don't even know if the Olympics are going to really be fact. I want to see people use the Olympics now as an excuse. There's no fans for the Olympics. Nobody wants to watch sports competition with no fans. People are backing out of the Olympics from competing in the Olympics because they don't want to compete in front of no fans. It's not the same this year. Who gives a shit? So I want to see you use that as an excuse as well. Nothing is an excuse. Stop making excuses for a terribly written program. So, some of these shows will be affected. NXT was affected. Dynamite continues to be affected. You know? Because this is AEW and NXT. It's not the juggernaut known as Raw. They need nights to themselves. If you're going to put anything else on, those shows are going to be affected. And those things will be affected. But don't tell me that Monday Night Raw is affected because of this shit. When this shit happens year after year after year, well before AEW and NXT were even a thing. Where are the people, where are the fans that watched 5, 6, 7 years ago compared to now when all these things were going? There wasn't an NBA Finals in June or July? 7 years ago? Why are you now not using that as an excuse? I don't get it. Or why are you now using it as an excuse, but didn't then? You fucking serious? So these shows will definitely be affected. Friday Night SmackDown, they were clearly affected by something because the show was down. Big time. Second lowest audience on Fox. The show averaged 1.861 million viewers on Fox. That was down from the 1.971 the show did the previous week. Just 2 weeks ago, SmackDown did over 2 million viewers. Based on the overnight ratings, the expectation was that the show would be the new lowest rated episode of SmackDown on Fox, but that's not the case. The record came back on the July 3rd, 2020 show. That is a 1.777 million viewership. This is the second lowest viewership the show has done on Fox. So, Sami Zayn went against Kevin Owens, last man standing match. Phenomenal match. Probably one of the best SmackDown matches of the year. That was the only thing on this show that was worth anything, really. So, we got Kevin Owens in Money in the Bank. He advanced there by beating Sami Zayn. We got a promo segment with Edge. He attacked Jimmy Uso. Jey Uso is still off television. Roman Reigns was not present on the show. Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega, where Zelina Vega took an L in her debut, so good luck to that. Or good luck to you being on SmackDown in the women's division. Big E and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. So that is, again, another Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura. I wonder why the SmackDown ratings are down, says the fucking people on social media, the geeks on social media. I wonder why. Otis versus Angelo Dawkins. Not really much going on SmackDown. I mean, SmackDown was not good outside the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn match. And Roman Reigns wasn't even there. And he's the most must-see thing on television when it comes to pro wrestling. So SmackDown was down. And that was because nobody really knew Roman Reigns was not going to be on the show. People tuned in to watch, but it was down. What's the reason? Oh, it's the 4th of July holiday. People are traveling. Sure. The show sucks. And without Roman, that was obviously more apparent than ever before. WWE has been mentioning Daniel Bryan as of late. Now, this report comes because Edge is challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank, and Daniel Bryan's name was dropped in a promo by Edge. Bryan worked a program with Reigns that then went to WrestleMania and included Edge. He weaseled himself into the World Championship match at WrestleMania. Best match on the night. Best match of the whole weekend. Maybe match of the year for WWE so far. But Bryan made that match main event. Then Bryan and Reigns had one more match where if Bryan would lose, he would be exiled from SmackDown as long as Roman Reigns is on the show. So now Edge is back. He's feuding with Roman Reigns. And the Universal Championship is on the line one-on-one. But there have been various mentions of Bryan on TV as of late. Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that he was told that the mentions are not an indication of Bryan returning to the company. The situation has stayed the same and nobody really knows what's going on with Daniel Bryan. Meltzer says, and I quote, they keep mentioning his name because he's a part of the story of building the story between Reigns and Edge, since they are using him as the reason Edge didn't already win the title. But it should be noted that Bryan is the reason, no matter if he was with the company or was with somebody else. I mean, it factored into WrestleMania. It's part of the story. Bryan is, even if he was somewhere else and wrestling somewhere else, that doesn't mean he's non-existent or his history is erased in WWE. He was a part of the show. He was a part of the story. He gets mentioned in the story to fill in the gaps. You just can't mention somebody was there without mentioning his name or what happened without mentioning his name. He was a part of the entire WrestleMania season. So I find that to be utterly ridiculous anyway, but that's what WWE does anyway. They usually do that pettiness and not mention somebody. But I also read that they're mentioning Bryan, and this may be true as well. How true it is, I don't know. They're mentioning Bryan because they have a feeling, an indication that he's going to be back. And the talks or possible talks that they may have had already have been good. So the reason why they mentioned Bryan is because they feel like he's going to be back with the company. If they felt like he wasn't going to be back, in this case, they should be mentioning him because he's not really anywhere yet. But they wouldn't be mentioning him if they felt he was going to go somewhere else. So we'll see what happens. But Bryan, I do think he will be back eventually in WWE. I don't see him going anywhere else. I mean, we talked about Malakai Black and we talked about Andrade and all these other ex-WWE talents that may get an opportunity in AEW. I do think that outside of CM Punk, which to me is the biggest needle mover of all, I do think Bryan is a needle mover, but I don't think Bryan is going to end up in AEW. I don't. I do think he will be back with the WWE when he is ready. Bayley. This news broke as of this afternoon on Friday, right before SmackDown. Bayley is injured, will be out of action for 9 months. SmackDown is going to be without Bayley after she suffered an injury while training for Money in the Bank. No details were given on the nature of her injury, but it was also reported that she will be out of action approximately 9 months, which essentially means she will be out the rest of the year and probably miss WrestleMania in Dallas next year. WWE is set to announce a replacement for Bayley on SmackDown. Who that is right now, I don't know because I'm recording this before SmackDown. But does WWE go and do Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch? Does WWE bring back Sasha Banks early? Does WWE give it to Zelina Vega, being that she's the only one on the roster outside of Bayley and Sasha that's had any history with Bianca Belair? There is history there. I don't know if WWE wants you to remember it, but I remember it. When Zelina and Andrade and Angel Garza were battling the Street Profits in the middle of the pandemic at the PC shows. Every fucking week, they were going at it. I mean, that's probably the one only thing that makes sense here. But I don't know if she is worthy of a title shot, how WWE weasels her into a title shot when she lost her debut match, or return match, I should say, last week to Liv Morgan. Bayley's been the best thing about the women's division. So if I had to have her out for 9 months, oh, what a blow. She was the MVP with Sasha Banks of the pandemic shows in the PC. She easily the MVP of the women's division. She's legitimately, outside of Sasha Banks, the only must-see thing on WWE women's television. And with a roster that is already at a number that is mind-blowing, that people call a division. 6 or 7, well, not even, what is it, 6 or 7? Now they're down Bayley. You can't call it a division without Bayley. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt. I don't know what WWE does going forward, but it's going to be interesting to see how they come up with a opponent for Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank. Knowing that this is their first live pay-per-view back in front of fans, they may make it a big deal. They may have placed a phone call today. We will see what happens in the week to come for Money in the Bank. Dynamite, Road Rager, awesome show. The ratings could have been better. Dynamite drew 871,000 viewers, down from 833,000 live viewers the week before. In the 18 to 49 demographic, the show did a 0.33, which was down from the previous week of a 0.35. That is according to PW Torch. Last week marked the first episode of Dynamite to be held in its normal time slot in over a month, 5 weeks to be exact. This week was the first show outside of Daly's Place in over a year. So we saw the Road Rager theme in Miami, got the Young Bucks beating Penta and Eddie Kingston in a street fight. We got Andrade El Idolo versus Matt Sydal. Impressive win for Andrade. Everybody was saying Matt Sydal looked better than Andrade, but you got to give Andrade a little bit more time to marinate, man. And I wanted to say it on Wednesday when I was talking about this with Jesse. I don't think that ring attire is really doing it for him, as far as an in-ring aspect goes. The entrance is great, and he looks fantastic, but something might be off there. But I'm going to give it time to kind of settle in and see what happens in the weeks to come. So he beats Matt Sydal. We got the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. We got Pinnacle winning over the Inner Circle. That was FTR and Wardlow against Santana, Ortiz, and Hager. Cody Rhodes beat QT Marshall in a strap match. Then he was attacked by Malakai Black later in the show. Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander, they beat Bunny and the Blade. And it was a good show, man. It was a very good episode of Dynamite. So happy fans are back. It felt like normal. Hopefully, next week is even better. And the weeks to come are even better. But the rating definitely should have been higher, man. I think fans knew. And again, we're not taking DVRs into effect here. Normally, Meltzer says with the DVR numbers, they're well above 1 million. So I don't know what's going on. But the fact that they were back in their normal time slot, back in front of live fans, not in Daly's place, the show should have been a lot better as far as the ratings are concerned. NXT did not do much better. And they were up against the NBA Finals, which I'm assuming this was a good show, the Great American Bash Show. I'm assuming the NBA Finals took away from a lot of people's interest on this show. NXT drew 654,000 live viewers. That is up from 636 the week before. It did a 0.18 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. The show did a 0.13 rating in the 18 to 49 a week ago. And we saw Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in a great main event. Adam Cole beat Kyle O'Reilly, which kept him away from Bruce Pritchard and the main roster. Cameron Grimes and LA Knight in a $1 million title match. Grimes loses. He becomes LA Knight's butler. Io Shirai and Zoe Stark beat Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae for the Women's Tag Team Championships. We saw the return of Tegan Nox. That was a deciding factor in Io and Zoe Stark winning. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, they fell to MSK. And it was a great night. And we got the announcement of Karrion Kross versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship next week. Next week, title match should be good. Karrion Kross, speaking of him, he mentioned the main roster during his promo on NXT, pretty much foreshadowing his future in the WWE. Karrion Kross did the line where he talked about wanting to be NXT champion forever, headlining WrestleMania, and becoming the WWE champion. Apparently, that was written in the promo, and he went out there and said it because it was NXT's way of getting the internet talking, which they have been all day. So I guess good on them. But the talk about Karrion Kross isn't a good thing. It's not a good thing. So I don't know what the fuck they are doing here as far as getting everybody talking about where he's going. Where he's going, nobody wants him to go. That's the fucking problem. That's why people are talking. But WWE thinks it's a good idea to televise Karrion Kross on main event against Shelton Benjamin when we all seen this guy on NXT and what the entrance is with Scarlett and the smoke and the lights and the music. No, but they opt to show it on main event, which got everybody talking for the wrong fucking reasons. So why even bother? Why show it when you know what the reaction's gonna be? So it's almost as if they're telling you they're about to fuck this guy up. So it got people talking. Got people talking for the wrong reasons. So he mentioned all that. WrestleMania main event, fine. WWE champion, fine. Go to Raw. Go to Raw. Because I know what awaits you. You're going to be a former shell of your NXT self. That's exactly what you're going to be. He wants to be NXT champion forever. No, you're going to wish you were NXT champion forever when you realize where they're sending you. He'll be a part of the draft with Bronson Reed and rumored Shotzi Blackheart. NXT has big plans for Roderick Strong. Fightful is reporting that Strong agreed to terms on a new contract extension before Diamond Mine debuted a week ago. His wife, Marina Shafir, was released on June 25th. A part of the budget cuts, she was actually supposed to be a part of the group, or there were plans that she was going to be a part of the group with him. It was noted that Strong figures into NXT's 2021 plans in a major way, as the company has big plans to feature the Cruiserweight division this year. The belief is that more top names will be moved to the division and Strong will be factored into those plans. This lines up with what WWE is doing on TV, as Strong is currently feuding with Kushida, the current Cruiserweight champion. Good for him. Because when Kyle O'Reilly's left by himself and Bobby Fish got nothing to do, and Adam Cole's getting buried on Monday Night Raw, Roderick Strong may be looking like the best guy to come out of the Undisputed Era because he's in NXT and they actually got vision for him. Meanwhile, the other guy, O'Reilly, suffered. Fish isn't doing anything, and Cole is about to be buried, baby. And it pains my soul to say that. Monday Night Raw, we talked about this earlier. I want to wrap this up because the more I talk about this show, the more sick I get. Monday Night Raw, 1.472 million viewers on Monday night. That is down from the 1.57 the show did last week. The 18 to 49 demo saw an average of a 0.41. That is the same as last week. There's no word on the hourly demo ratings or viewership. The show featured Ricochet versus John Morrison, again. Medical update from Charlotte Flair, which ended up being an embarrassing segment with Rhea Ripley. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus Bobby Lashley and MVP. Riddle and Drew McIntyre with John Morrison and Ricochet on Miz TV. An 8-woman tag team match with everybody in the fucking division, everybody in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Doudrop, Eva Marie, AJ Styles, Omos, the Viking Raiders. Who cares? The show sucks. I ranted about it before. Why is the Raw rating down? Just watch the fucking show. It's not that difficult to figure out why. Finally, guys, another cryptic message by Keith Lee. This guy seems to be wanting to desperately reach out to people because he's fucking in pain. Keith Lee is still on hiatus. No reason as to why. It's the biggest mystery in WWE all year. On Thursday, Lee took to his Twitter account to comment on the 1-year anniversary of his NXT title victory at last year's Great American Bash, where he won the NXT title and the North American title from Adam Cole, baby. Lee wrote, and I quote, "Many of you are reminding me of this day a year ago. So much has happened since then. It feels like so long ago. Patience, my friends, there is zero quit in me, so don't quit on me. I miss you and I love you," end quote. This guy sounds like he's about to fucking off himself somewhere. About to jump off a building somewhere, man. What exactly is going on with this guy? Where is Keith Lee? But we ask questions, and then we get the response from his fiancée. Don't worry about it. It's none of your business. Then tell your fucking fiancée to shut the fuck up on social media. Then maybe we won't ask questions. Maybe we won't insinuate why. I still stand behind my reason. This guy was taken off TV. Could be for trademark reasons. Could be for copyright in his own name, whatever the case may be. Fine. But there was an issue well before that. WWE tried to change this guy in every fucking aspect, and they wanted to make this guy into what they thought he should be. Change his entire moveset around, making him work a methodical big man style as a babyface, taking his high-risk offense away, change his theme music, put him in a fucking kilt, whatever the fuck they did with him. How many matches did he win? Oh, yeah, he beat Randy Orton. Yeah, he beat Randy Orton. Where's he now? For all the fucking idiots and the geeks that said, oh, this is a big win. This is a foundation for Keith Lee on the main roster. Yeah, oh, really? Foundation of what? To be taken off TV for 7 months? This guy was pulled off TV because he was fat. Sticking with it. One thing I'm going to be looking forward to, man, when hopefully this guy comes back. At this point, I hope that he gets released. So I can hear the AEW fucking fans rejoice while the WWE shills cry that they signed another WWE quote-unquote has-been or reject. Yes, because Keith Lee sitting at home is doing WWE great favors, right? They're spending their money wisely with Keith Lee sitting at home. If I see this guy, the one thing I'm going to be looking forward to, man, when he comes back to TV, how much weight this guy lost. One thing I'm going to fucking zero in on, my fucking binoculars are going to be right on Keith Lee. It's going to be great. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, guys. I appreciate all the support, man. I hope you enjoyed the return of the podcast, episode 382 today on Off the Script. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the bell for all notifications. Go and check out Sheath, sponsor for today's show, sheathunderwear.com/script, or you guys can use code SCRIPT at checkout for 20% off. Either way works. 20% off Sheath. sheathunderwear.com/script. Make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Go check out last night's SmackDown review, post-show on Off the Script Live. All the other videos, Raw, NXT, AEW, the extra on Jimmy Uso. It's all there. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. Go and get your Summer Scam t-shirts. Summer Scam now available on bonfire.com. Link is down in the description below. So go and support via that. Patreon.com/JD from NY206 as well if you guys want to sign up to the official Patreon page. And that is all I got. I'll see you guys back here on Monday night. Go home show for Money in the Bank, taped from the ThunderDome. The last Raw ThunderDome show of the pandemic era before we go back in front of live fans. And I can't wait, man. So see you guys on Monday Night Raw, the post show live on YouTube. Until then, like I said, hit that thumbs up, and I will be back next week with a brand new week of wrestling content on Off the Script. Take care, and I'll see you guys later.